made an overreaction.
I mean, in my opinion, it seems as if the department, took a sledgehammer to crack open a nut with this particular issue. So what they've said that they are going to do is get a fob put on the door of the toilet so that both Department of Social Protection staff and indeed the RSA staff, which are the drive-in testers, that they will then be able to open the toilets for anybody, but I mean specifically for the test applicants, the people who are going to sit their drive-in test.
A new report shows the most common conditions behind deaths in Irish hospitals. The audit examined 44 healthcare settings around the country. Jessica Woodlock reports.
Findings highlight key conditions affecting the Irish healthcare system. These include a stroke, a heart attack and heart disease. Chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, or COPD, has returned to pre-pandemic levels, with 2023 seeing 38 deaths per 1,000 discharges and 2024 37 deaths per 1,000 discharges. Meanwhile, the number of people dying from pneumonia has also decreased from the height of the pandemic. Overall, more people are dying in Irish hospitals than before COVID-19 hit the country. However, the number of hospital discharges has returned to pre-pandemic levels.
Parents of pupils attending Cranagh College are warned of a scam text that's being circulated. The text purports to be from the school, advising parents there's a €30 locker fee that must be paid. The message contains a link for the bill. A spokesperson from the school in Buncrana says the message was not sent from them and is urging people not to click the fraudulent link. Looking now to weather, wet and blustery start today with long spells of rain, heavy at times. Occasional heavy showers will move in from early afternoon with spot flooding and isolated thunderstorms are also possible. Highest temperatures of 15 to 17 degrees in moderate to fresh southwesterly winds, and it will be gusty at times near the Atlantic coast. That's all for now from the newsroom. Back with more at 10 o'clock.
How can I help? It's a question I ask my patients every day. It's a question I ask myself. One thing I've learned is that I can help even more when I can easily connect with
physios,
paediatricians, specialists,
nurses,
who are all working with me in a healthcare network that takes a wider view of your health. That's VHI, where healthcare connects. So let me rephrase the question. How can we help?
VHI, because your health means everything.
And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest, the 9 to noon show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello, good morning. You're very welcome along to the 9 till noon show here in Highland Radio with me, Greg Hughes. And we have a very busy show lined up for you, as we always do, of course. We've got the usual mix of news, views and features. A busy show, but always space for your contributions. 086 60 25,000. That's the WhatsApp and text number. 086 60 25,000. Or give us a call on 074 91 25,000. If you want to email, it is comments@highlandradio.com. And if you want to watch the show, we're on the YouTube app, so you can watch it on your smart TV or your Fire Stick, across Facebook and on the X platform. Chatting to Lee just before 9 about honeybees and beekeeping. It's probably something we could do a wee feature on one of our slots, actually, because it is a fascinating area. And what the social structure of bees and how they create the honey and how they, have so much respect for the queen or can overthrow and all that kind of stuff. It is actually really quite fascinating. If there's any appetite for that, I certainly would be up for doing something on that. Right, let's see. Thursday, lots in the newspapers. So let's start with the Dairy People Donegal News. Morale among social workers in Donegal is being decimated as they struggle with growing pressure and mounting caseloads, it's been claimed. Some social workers have left their roles with TUSLA to work with the HSC or in the private sector, with one even considering leaving their high-pressure job to work in a local supermarket. The situation has been highlighted by the Forza trade union in response to a internal review of TUSLA in Donegal, which revealed delays in assessing reports of abuse, neglect or mistreatment of children due to intractable staffing problems and burnout. The review completed in November 2023 was revealed to the Irish Times through the Freedom of Information Act. I believe actually it was Ain't Two that sourced that information, not the paper itself, the Irish Times. But in any case, it's one of those things that we are seeing children who are one of our most important assets, if I could put it to you like that, widespread mistreatment, widespread abuse, and the agency that's responsible for sort of intervening them and, getting them out of that situation or supporting the family or whatever it might be is struggling to do that in our own county. And it should really be a bigger deal, shouldn't it? We should be furious about this. We spend an awful lot of time talking about, various issues. A lot of them all come back to our well-being, our welfare, the safety of children or whatever it might be. And yet here we have an awful lot of cases in Donegal of children being abused, being mistreated, not being reared correctly, and TUSLA, the agency responsible for it, under-resourced, overstretched. The staff are overstretched, and I just don't think it's getting the attention it should. I think any parent or non-parent should be furious about it, that's how our children are being treated. John McAteer's writing in the Tyrconnell Tribune with an overview of the presidential race. He's described the Irish contest as a slow bicycle race. With the presidential election 8 weeks away, it's still a slow bicycle race, with the choice of runners failing to impress the electorate. The turnout for the 2018 election was the lowest on record, with only 43.8 turning up to vote on October 26th, 2018, despite 6 names on the ballot paper. And that was there was a mixture of candidates there that you would have imagined would have driven a greater turnout, but only 4 out of 10 people bothered. Well, Deputy Pat the Cope Gallagher perhaps illustrated the unease within Fianna Fáil. He's called for an urgent meeting of the parliamentary party. He said this meeting will allow Micheál Martin to inform the party of his nomination, and if he fails to do so, he should be given 48 hours, or else the members will do so. The parliamentary party needs to hear from Micheál Martin about why he's dragging his heels on the selection of a candidate, he said. Asked if he heard from the Taoiseach over the summer, Pat the Cope said, "No, I have not, and I'm not aware of any consultation whatsoever with any other candidates. Our leader has known for 7 years there's going to be an election before the end of October. There is no reason why we cannot make a decision from within the Fianna Fáil gene pool, and there are a number of strong and worthy contenders," he said. And I think the pressure is starting to sort of maybe get through to Micheál Martin. There is some suggestion that he will announce over the weekend where they're going with that. So we'll see. The Derry News this morning: Derry City and Strabane District Councillor Raymond Barr has described the case of his sister Denise O'Donnell, 19, as screaming corruption. Nothing has changed since 1976 when we see the corruption around other cases, he added. Speaking to the Derry News, Councillor Barr said his family was now calling for a fresh inquest into Daniel's death following the recent decision by the controversial Independent Commission for Reconciliation and Information Recovery not to examine her case, which would be a very difficult pill for any family to swallow. The Irish Times this morning, and this may affect some of you or those in your household. The random selection process has again been criticised as deeply unfair after some students who achieved maximum points in their Leaving Cert lost out on their first preference for college courses yesterday. In all, 51% of third-level applications received their first choice following the initial round of offers from the Central Applications Office, with 4/5 being offered one of their top 3 college choices. However, places on 25 Level 8 courses in high demand were allocated using random selection. 2 of these courses required the maximum 625 points for entry, meaning some top-performing applicants missed out while others got in. So, I mean, as I say, we're not talking about an awful lot of people across the entire country that received maximum points. You would think, after putting all those years into school and obviously applying yourself very well, that you would be successful. And yet there are more with those scores than there are spaces. They have to do this randomised draw, which is unfair. They do that for bus seats as well, trying to get to school too, or they did in the past. But of course, we are dealing with people who got the results this year, more generally speaking, competing for places with perhaps students who got their results last year or the year before, and they were artificially inflated post-COVID. There is still some level of inflation in points this year, but if others held off knowing that the inflation wouldn't be as great the next year, arguably they could have an advantage, or even take a position from a student who is better qualified than them, who might make a better fist of it. I don't know. It's not really relevant to me, but I can understand why it should bother some. The Irish Independent reports today that nearly 60% of children who are experiencing bullying type behaviour at the age of 13 do not tell an adult about it, research has suggested. And maybe if we're all in cars, maybe now's the time to talk about it. I'm just wondering, as parents, as guardians, as grandparents, so 6 out of 10 children of our children, these are our children, this is a random survey of children around the country, 6 out of 10 13-year-olds could be being bullied at school but wouldn't tell us. Now, I don't think any of us would like our 13-year-old to sort of be enduring that on their own, not talk to us, so we can, talk them through it, come up with solutions, maybe go to the school. 6 out of 10 13-year-olds who are being bullied won't tell someone about it. Children who were bullied at aged 9 have poor well-being and higher depression scores by the time they reach 13, according to the report by the ESRI. New research by the ESRI looked at the experience of bullying among 9-year-olds and 13-year-olds in and outside school. Poorer well-being and higher depression at age 13 were found among those who experienced more frequent bullying, and behaviour involving the same person. A link was found between being excluded by peers and both poor well-being and greater depression. So maybe a reason I'm reading that is that sometimes, well, it seems in most cases it's possible that our children could be being bullied or upset at school and they're not telling us, they're keeping it to themselves. So I just thought I'd read that out in case that resonates. Awful situation in the United States. 2 children were killed and 17 other people injured when a shooter opened fire during a US school's prayers yesterday. This is in the Irish Daily Mail. The attacker, who was identified as a transgender person, Robin Westman, stormed in with a semi-automatic rifle, shotgun and pistol before pepper spraying bullets through windows during Mass. The 23-year-old shot dead 2 children, aged 8 and 10, and wounded 17 others, including 14 pupils, at the Annunciation Catholic School in Minneapolis. As up to 100 bullets were fired, Westman died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. 7 children aged between 6 and 14 are in a critical condition in hospital. He produced a manifesto, and I read most of it last night, just to try and get some sort of an insight into why anyone would do this. The easiest thing in the world would be to say, and I'm not a psychologist, and I'm certainly not going to try and get into a space I'm not comfortable with, but the easiest thing in the world would be to say that, the person was mad or unhinged or whatever it might be. And obviously to do this, you have to be unhinged, right? But reading through the manifesto, and it was scrollings he had done over months and months and months, he was building up to it. It was considered, he was fully aware of the impact this might have on his victims, on his family. He talked of his love for his family and their love for him and how they might deal with it. But he, over time, got to a point whereby he had reconciled all of that and was determined to do what he wanted to do. He wanted to emulate his heroes in mass shootings, so to speak. The amount of weapons he was able to get together, a small army would have been okay with that. Absolutely unbelievable stuff. And he recorded a video which he posted to YouTube too, which it was the day before, I believe. Well, in fact, I know for a fact it was the day before. And, cool, calm and collected. Clearly not right, don't get me wrong. But I think this would be worthwhile material for people to analyse and try and understand what is going on. You think it's a random act, you think it's just something that happens in a moment or something, but the level of planning and self-awareness, awareness of consequences, disregarding those consequences, certainly there's learnings that need to be taken from that, I think. The Irish Farmers Journal, breeding ewe bogget returns are up on average by 40 to 50 euro a head, with a percentage of the highest quality hoggets in special sales exceeding 400 euro per head at the Mayo Mule and Greyface Group Premier Sale held in Ballinarobe. 90% of hoggets exceeded 300 euro a head, compared with just 10% in 24, and 16% of Huggett surpassed €400 per head. That's just the tip of the iceberg of what's in that paper today. Desperate Gazans queue for food as the number of deaths caused by hunger went up by another 10 yesterday. Health officials said 2 children were among the latest starvation death toll, bringing the total to 313, 119 of them are minors. And Gaza's government media office says the situation is only getting worse due to ongoing Israeli restrictions on food and aid deliveries. It said the Israeli occupation authorities continue to commit a systematic starvation crime against the population of Gaza Strip. The media office also said the Israeli army has closed all crossings into Gaza and banned the entry of 430 essential food items. So what Israel is actually doing now, it's indisputable, and it's been accepted by most of the UN, is they are starving the people of Gaza. They want them out of Gaza. They're starving them to death. And I was reading some reports that some children now are so hungry that they don't cry. They're incapable of crying, so they just lie there with their bones sticking out, malnourished. And this is being done not because of a lack of water, not because of a desert environment or a blasting sun. It's being done because a Western civilized state, in inverted commas, i.e. Israel, is purposely starving these people. And the United States was the only country, and it had an opportunity. The United States had an opportunity to call it what it was, and maybe put pressure and end this. And I think this should be considered really when we consider a country and I suppose the wider responsibility of its people. They had an opportunity to call it what it was, and they chose not to. So the United States at this point is very, very complicit in what's happening over there. It's really regrettable too, because we have such a great relationship with America, and we can welcome so many American visitors to our country, and we get on really well with them, and we've got a really strong presence in America as well. But we're at a point now whereby America is complicit in arming Israel, but also in terms of not calling what it clearly is, and that is a man-made famine in a country. And then up 200 miles away, they're drinking cocktails on the beach. It's remarkable. The health minister has questioned whether the new National Children's Hospital will now be finished by next month. The delayed project in Dublin had an original completion date of August 2022, but costs have ballooned from a planned 600 million to an expected 2.3 billion after the completion of construction by main contractor BAM. The hospital will also require a commission period between 6 and 9 months before it is ready for use. Jennifer Carroll McNeil sent out a press release yesterday, and she was very, very sharp in her criticism of BAM. She dismissed the fact that there is anyone else holding up this project but them. They had arranged a certain amount of rooms to hand over in advance, and they're all on different floors. The government had sought a floor whereby people could go in. But they didn't. They offered them the rooms that they wanted, but scattered all over the place in the building. And the majority of that building is not finished and not fit for use at all yet. And in fairness, it was interesting and welcome, I think, to see very strong language from Minister Jennifer Carroll McNeil in that regard. And finally, we'll be talking about this a little later on. Around 2,600 secretaries and caretakers are due to go on strike from today in a row over pensions after last-minute talks at the Workplace Relations Commission failed. The move comes after discussions ended with the WRC saying there was no further basis for negotiation at the moment. The dispute relates to the exclusion of secretaries and caretakers from the public service pension scheme. It's understood about 2,000 schools nationwide will be affected. So listen, if you're contacting your school and some of these people are on strike on it, you might not get the emails that you're requesting, the documentation that you're seeking. The phone may not be answered like you normally would expect. I presume come payday, there might be issues there because secretaries have a lot of responsibility in relation to that. And of course, then there is the maintenance of the grounds, the cleaning of the buildings, the toilets, etc. How are they going to cope with that? Teachers aren't going to do it because they've been instructed by the unions not to do it. So you will feel what's happening unless there is some sort of a resolution if you try and engage with your school, if people within that school are part of the union which is striking, if that makes sense.
Newspapers are kindly supplied by Cosgrove Centra, Mountain Top Letterkenny. Now with the new look Mountain Top Diner.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
At Blue Poppy Dentistry and Orthodontics, we specialise in creating confident, natural-looking smiles through expert composite bonding. Doctors Anna and Lydia combine precision and artistry to reshape, refine and refresh your smile with stunning results. It's just one of the many ways Blue Poppy puts your smile first. Call us on 07491 20355 or book online at bluepoppydental.com. Blue Poppy Dental and Orthodontics, Letterkenny and Donegal Town, where smiles shine brighter.
Discover amazing deals at Floyd's Restaurant, Ballymagori, Strabane. Enjoy a 2-course menu for £19.95 Monday to Friday, Euro for pound night Wednesday and steak night Thursday. Sunday carvery from 12:30 to 3:30. Party packages and function rooms available. Call 02871 382905 to book.
Elvis Spectacular live at Jackson's Hotel Friday, September 26th. Europe's top Elvis tribute returns to Ballybuffet with powerhouse vocals, 9-piece TCP band and the Sweet Sensations. Enjoy iconic hits, dazzling costumes and a Las Vegas experience for just €25. Book at jacksonshotel.ie for a non-forgettable night of Elvis magic.
At Restex Beds, we are celebrating 50 incredible years in business. And we are introducing our brand new Glenveigh mattress, comfort that's as legendary as our half-century legacy. Experience 50 years of bedding excellence at Restex Beds, Mountaintop Letterkenny. Restex Beds, leave the rest to us.
Hi everybody, Michael English here. Join me for the Highland Radio Country Music Weekend at the Clanry Hotel, Letterkenny this October 31st and November 1st. I'll be performing live over the weekend with my band along with my great friends Patrick Feeney and his band, David James and his band, Stacey Breen, Jordan McPolan and many more. Enjoy 2 nights B&B plus tickets to 2 brilliant nights of dancing and live country music. Book now at clanryhotel.com or highlandradio.com. I'll see you there.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is
9:24 on the button now. As I mentioned there, school secretaries and caretakers who are a member of the Force of Trade Union are beginning indefinite strike action today. The union said the move is necessary because the workers are being denied access to public sector pensions and other entitlements and talks at the Workplace Relations Commission yesterday failed to resolve the dispute. Around 115 union members in Donegal will take the action, which is set to impact 90 schools. Right, we're joined on the programme now by Johnny Thompson, who's a caretaker and member of Forsa. Good morning, Johnny.
Well, 1 second, Greg, for this is a noisy bunch here we have on the bus here, but...
Don't you worry about that, Johnny. Listen.
So...
Well, do you know what? They sound resilient and determined, Johnny. So where are you?
They're very resilient.
I take it you're on your way to Dublin. So
we're on our way now to the Department of Public Expenditure to hold protest outside it. So, just
to give us a bit of a background to this, Johnny. We have obviously platformed the secretary's complaints for a decade now, at least here on this programme. And caretakers were always included, but we never really felt that we were getting any advance in terms of caretakers. So what is the difference now between a caretaker, how they might be employed or not, and how it's seen as unfair?
Well, I mean, for starters, Greg, our role, both secretary and caretakers, has been very undervalued by the Department of Education for, as many years. I think it's gone on over 40 years as it is. So, now just we're taking a stand. Leo Varadkar stood up on the Dáil and he said in 2020 that he was going to bring an end to the 2-tier system, which, that still hasn't happened. Secretaries was brought onto the pay scale in 2023, yet, we were promised and we're still left sitting. So, it's not good enough,
So just explain that to us then on the secretary side of it, because there was an agreement reached where all school secretaries were to transfer to a new pay scale aligned with the public service clerical officer scale, and it was also said at that time that there would be a significant improvement to incomes paid leave arrangements, and what have you. So how are we still here? And I know sort of secretaries and caretakers are the same and different at the same time, but what happened with that agreement that you've referenced there for secretaries that has left us still in this position where they're striking today?
Well, I mean, obviously there were talks to the secretaries was brought on board, Greg, but like, I mean, there were discussions about pensions at the time, but that fell through. And I mean, the caretakers are still left high and dry. So I mean, like, what more can we say about it? Like,
right. Okay. So I
stage.
just want it to be clear for the listener. So secretaries are. They're continuing that campaign for improved conditions beyond what was agreed a couple of years ago, and caretakers have been left behind altogether. So, as a caretaker, are all caretakers employed by the school, or are some employed by the Department of Education? Is there an inequality amongst caretakers in schools?
Well, I mean, if you go to ETB schools, like, I mean, they get their full entitlements, they get bereavement leave, they have pensions, they have pay scale, whereas if you're, like myself, you're hired by the Board of Management, but still the money comes from the department. I mean, I'm a caretaker for 19 years, haven't got a raise, and I mean, it's unacceptable in today's standards. Cost of living's gone up. You know, they're making it nearly impossible, and they're degrading this job. That's what they're doing.
So you've been a caretaker for 19 years, paid by the Board of Management, but actually that money comes from the Department of Education. What happens over the summer for you, Johnny, or the Easter break or what have you? Are you paid during the school holidays?
No, you're not paid during the school holiday. You have to sign on, which is, you know what I mean? It's like you're working for public sector, yet now you have to sign on. I mean, that's I can't understand it. And even from the secretary's point of view, they are getting paid by the department. They're public service wages, but yet now they don't get a public service pension. Like, I mean, wherever would you hear the like of it? And I mean, I don't think that it happens in any other place of work that you would be getting a public service wage, but yet now you're not getting a public service pension.
Yet
and
some secretaries,
now, like, we're working side by side.
Yeah, sorry, you were about to say what I was about to say. You're working side by side
with S&As, teachers, principals, and yet now, like, we have no entitlements as like what they do. And at the end of the day, now the time has come. We have to stand up for ourselves. The department has been dragging their heels about this. I mean, we talked to Norma Foley before. We talked to Helen McAtee in Galway, and they're all singing off the same hymn sheet. And like, they're all telling us we're, you know, a valued member of staff. Well, I can't come and do my shopping and say to them, well, hold on, I'm a valued member of staff, and keep the change. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter what anybody tells you. At the end of the day, we need our pay sorted, we need our pensions, and what more can I say than that?
Is this from now going forward, or are you seeking a retrospective element to this? So say, for instance, your pension backdated 19 years, if you don't mind me using you as an example.
Right, no problem. Well, look, I mean, that's what we would be hoping for. I mean, we shouldn't even have to do this. We should never have been in this position. We should have been getting this from day one. As I say, we're working alongside everybody else that has that. If you're working in an ETB, you obviously you start off, you automatically get these entitlements. So I mean, you know, we need it, and we're here now, and whatever it takes, we're going to fight for it.
Johnny, give us an idea of the work that won't be done while you're not at work. You know, just, I mean, obviously you're flat out all day, right? You can't talk about everything that you're doing.
Right.
I just want to give listeners who may not be familiar with the school setup an idea of the importance of your role.
Well, I mean, if you don't open up, nobody gets in, first of all. And as well as that, like, I mean, I will be out on the traffic this morning, and that's rain, hail, sleet, or snow. Like, you're getting the children across. You know, it starts off from early in the morning. So you have all that to do, and just if there was snow or anything, you have to do all that salting and all that. Like, we do all that. Like, as well as that, like, I mean, down through the years, we've put awful savings toward, you know, for the school, like, with our knowledge of doing jobs. You know, so, I mean, even, I was just thinking, like, you know, today coming into the school, the children coming into the school, this is their first day in. Well, it's not the first day we have met these children coming in. The secretaries and the caretakers have met these children coming in from last year with your brothers and sisters. And, like, I mean, I can remember last year how many come over and was showing me their new bags and they wanted to come to school. So you created that friendly environment, you know, ever before, you know, the child came to that school. It left things a lot, you know, easier for the child. Like, but as I say, the government and the Department of Education is just totally forgotten about us.
Right, okay. So, well, and there's a busload of you from Donegal on your way now too.
There's a busload of us, and they're very well behaved here now at the moment, because I know I'm on the phone, and I have a secretary here sitting beside me.
All right, she's keeping an eye on you.
Braving.
Okay.
Well, she said she would talk, so.
She will talk. Okay, what's her name?
She said she will. Bridgetta Brogan.
Right, do you want to put Bridgetta on too, mate?
I'll put Bridgetta on. All right, thanks, Greg.
Thanks so much,
one
Johnny.
other thing you want
Go
to
ahead,
mention. Now, I would love to, you know, hopefully the parents and Parents Association, like, as I say, I'll be in Sligo tomorrow. I'll be outside my own school on Monday, and hopefully maybe the parents and maybe the Parents Association could be notified, you know, maybe to come out and support and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. All right then, thanks so much, Johnny.
All right, pass you over here now.
Yeah, okay, thanks so much indeed. Bridgetta, good morning to you. Thanks for chatting to me. It's Greg here.
Hello.
Hi, Bridgetta. It's Greg here.
Hi,
How
Greg.
are you?
How are you?
I'm doing okay.
I'm not too bad. How are you?
I'm doing fine. So, Bridgetta, I mean, you would have been tracking this campaign, obviously, as you directly affected it for years and years and years. So what didn't happen in 22-23 when an agreement was publicised as having been reached that's left us still now where secretaries at the start of a new term feel they have to go on strike?
I would really love to know what it was that was the difference between my public service job and another public service person's job, that they decided that we would have to have this two-tier system. I really don't know. I can't explain that to you, Greg. I just know that we should be entitled to the same and full pension rights and leave rights as every other public servant that works in a school.
It's a big decision for someone like you to go on strike indefinitely. I mean, that's a big decision to make.
It's a huge decision because we love the children. We love to be there to support the children and the teachers and the SNAs and our principal. We're getting great support from our school fraternity. Everybody is on board with this, and the messages of support we're getting is unreal. I really cannot understand why the government is not coming forward and speaking about this. It's just shocking to me at this stage of my life that I have to go on strike for a pension. I have colleagues on this bus who have been in the service for 32 years. They have to walk out of their job with nothing, not even a pension at the end of it. It's crazy. It's just crazy.
I have heard in the past from secretaries a little bit of frustration that maybe, you know, the big unions behind the teachers and others could have perhaps done more to support the campaign. That's not the case any longer, is it? It seems the teachers' unions are coming out instructing their members not to do the work of secretaries or caretakers, or is there still a bit of an issue there that sometimes caretakers and secretaries, as important as they are in the school, can feel sort of a bit left behind by other school members?
No, I wouldn't agree with that at all. I think that like this is the first time we've actually had a strike where every day is out. we really don't know. We're going into uncharted territory right now. We don't really know where this is going to end up. So, like, it's going to have to play out day by day. I suppose the most important thing to say is that we do the payroll for teachers, SNAs and subs. That won't be happening. That's the first immediate thing. The new kids coming in, it's going to break our hearts not to see them coming in as like we usually do. So it's just very frustrating, and I think I can speak for everybody when I say we're going to Dublin with heavy hearts.
Yeah.
We really shouldn't have to do this.
No,
we
I
really
understand.
shouldn't have
Yeah.
to do this.
I hear that.
Like,
Well, listen.
I mean, and
Yep.
the other part of that is our jobs are not going to be done when we're not there.
Mm-hmm.
Like any work that's going to just pile up on our desks, the caretaker's work's all going to be piled up for when it goes back. So then it's going to be catch up when we eventually do go back.
But
So,
that's the whole idea of a
I really
strike,
can't-
isn't it? It's that you start to
I
see
know.
start to see why people's roles are important, and unfortunately, there's a cost to it. But that's why people strike. Listen, safe onward journey. A big hello to everyone. I do hope there's a resolution soon. I've no doubt. Most people,
please
if not
God there will
all,
be.
know the important role you secretaries and the caretakers do in schools, and you should be equal to your people who are doing the same work. I don't think anyone
Absolutely.
would disagree with that.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Thank you so very much indeed. Okay, we'll be back shortly.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
Get the job done with the right equipment delivered direct from Watson Hire in Letterkenny. Free delivery on all equipment has been extended to the Finn Valley area, including Ballybuffet, Stranorlar, Castlefin and Killygordon. With great daily and weekend deals available, call Watson Hire, Lisnen and Letterkenny on 9167777. See Facebook or visit watsonhire.ie.
It's Cabaret 25 at Harvey's Point. We start again on Wednesday, September the 3rd, and every Wednesday until November the 5th. An amazing lineup of stars, gourmet food, the warmest of welcomes, and all in the beautiful surrounds of Harvey's Point on Lough Esk, Donegal Town. Book today 074 972 2208 or harveyspoint.com. The Harvey's Point Cabaret, a night not to be missed.
Is your couch older than your Spotify playlist? Is your dining table wobblier than your uncle at a wedding? If so, it's time for an upgrade at Grove Furnishings, Kiltoy Road, Letterkenny, the largest furniture store in the Northwest. From stylish sofas to elegant beds, from floor covering to occasional pieces, we've got you covered. And we offer free delivery within 80 kilometres. Grove Furnishings. Seriously good furniture.
Have you received a CAO offer from Atlantic Technological University? Or are you thinking about applying for an available place? Come along to our CAO Available Places and Offers Information Day on Friday 29th of August from 11am to 2pm on the Letterkenny, Galway City and Sligo campuses. Discuss your offer from any campus, find out about CAO Available Places and explore the accommodation options. Prospective students, parents and guardians are all welcome. Friday the 29th of August from 11am to 2pm. Find out more. atu.ie/open days. ATU, your future is here.
So I got a notification yesterday from Irish Water to say that water supply is returning to Uisce Éireann customers in the Inishowen area of Donegal following the completion of essential works, and that was following an operational issue at the Illy's water treatment plant yesterday. Upper and Lower Redcastle, Quigley's Point to Muff, Ture, Clar, Moville, Lower Moville to Greencastle Road, Crookglass, Ballywalter, I beg your pardon, Menavenahan and surrounding areas were all affected by it. The network is currently recharging, and the majority of customers were expected to have water returned to them by 8 p.m. Amongst them, I hope, is Patricia McKenna. Good morning, Patricia.
Good morning, Greg. Is this you?
Yeah, okay, that's good.
Hello?
Come here. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Patricia, I mean, obviously it's good to have water back in the taps, but that doesn't negate the frustration of this problematic supply. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, the water went off about just around lunchtime on Tuesday. There was no warning given. we got no warning anyway. We got no notification. My brother-in-law lives across the road, the same with him, a few neighbours we spoke to. So as the day went on, the water wasn't back on. Yesterday morning, I phoned Irish Water, and I was told, there was they were solving the problem, and it should be solved by 9 o'clock. That was yesterday morning, and the water would be back on, and it would give it a couple of hours. Later on that afternoon, it still wasn't on. Now, I went online to Uisce Éireann looking for. They had this ridiculous artificial intelligence chat thing, which is a waste of time. I got back onto them. I was on them a few times trying to find out what was going on. I discovered late yesterday afternoon that this wasn't. I assumed this was just unexpected, but it was confirmed to me by their agent on the phone that this was a scheduled works, right?
Yeah.
I know you said their operational issue. It was scheduled. So that really got me extremely annoyed because they hadn't notified anybody. When I said this to me, he says, well, people got texts. Well, not everybody got texts. And then he says, I said this, and he says, we also sent out by post a notification. I said, sorry, you did not. I said, I know that in the area, we come from O'Vale, the Ballinally area, we didn't get notification. As I said, my neighbours across the road didn't get it. We know that no notification came. So I said, look, this was scheduled. I said, I didn't know that all day, or I'd have been even more annoyed about it. I said, you knew you were doing this. You should have taken you should have taken all precautions to ensure people knew this was coming in advance. I mean, no advanced warning, despite it being scheduled, works. It's just unacceptable. And the reasons it's unacceptable is for so many different things. First of all, we couldn't wash our hands, flush our toilets, even make a cup of tea for the over 30 hours in a barn. That was the length of time the water was out. But it's not just people like us. You've got elderly people, vulnerable people, people who are susceptible to health issues. They have no water. And the thing is, like, at least with advance notice, and I know that there are cases where they can't help it if something happens, like a storm. But where they know they're going to do something, there's an onus on them to ensure a duty of care for the customers, to inform them so they can either, fill up their baths or fill up kettles, etc., and have some water for that time. Okay, they might say, well, you can go to the shop and get bottled water, but not everybody. There are a lot of people who have mobility issues who can't just run out at the drop of a hat and go to the shop to get water. And anyway, that only is for, making tea or whatever you're going to do. And the risks involved are quite substantial. I mean, apart from the fact of the health and safety issue and the well-being of customers, you have a lot of other issues. Like, okay, at this time of the year, it's summertime, so people won't have their heating systems on. But if you have no warning that there is going to be a water outage and you have a central heating system, this can really mess up that central heating system, where you'll end up having to get plumbers in because there's airlocks, etc. It's absolutely unacceptable in this day and age that Uisce Éireann can get away with this. And you also have businesses, farmers, people who depend on water 24/7. And after I discovered all this yesterday, I was so frustrated. I just looked back, and the number of situations where this has happened in Donegal, like in September, I just looking back at media reports, September 2020, there was a sixth time they said in 8 weeks that there had been an issue. In April 2019, again in May 2024, in April 2019, in January 2025. The January 2025 situation was where you had Storm Owen, so that wasn't foreseen. But in other cases, it's a complete lack of management, a complete lack of care in relation to how they operate.
And a complete lack of communication as well, because I do get advance notice from Uisce Éireann of certain works. And the only reference to Illies that I received in advance was on the 26th, which is 2 days ago. And they said at that point, they didn't say it was scheduled. They said there were operational issues at Illies water treatment plant. So there's no reference to scheduled works. The only notification I received, and I believe I get them all, was that there were operational issues at the Illies water treatment plant. So at the very least, the left hand doesn't appear to know what the right hand is doing, and it probably is much worse than that.
Yeah, that's true. And the thing is, now when I spoke to their agent yesterday, I got him to go over this. I said, sorry, backtrack there. Did you say scheduled? He says, yes. I said, are you saying these were scheduled work? So I put him over it about 3 or 4 times, and I'm sure they record these phone calls, so it'll be there on the record. I put him over it a number of times. Was it scheduled? It's a scheduled. I said, yeah. So why did you not notify? And then we got into this argument about notifying people by text. And as you said, yeah, so you get a notice, but not everybody hears this on the radio, or there are.
Of course they don't. And they post it on X, and they post it on X seems to be their primary social media source. And a fraction of people in Ireland are on the X platform, formerly Twitter.
Exactly.
If the truth be told.
You're right.
But
there.
you can sign up to Map Alerter. That is one thing that maybe I should be communicating more. That you can sign up to Map Alerter, and if there is a notice, it will be emailed or text to you. I just wonder, are enough people signed up to the Map Alerter service? Again, maybe I have a role. When I say I mean us, have a role in getting that out there. I don't know. Hello? Okay, I've lost Patricia there, but Patricia's point was well made. And just one other thing, and I was double checking some information while I was listening to Patricia, if she hasn't mentioned. Are you there, Patricia?
Yeah.
Okay,
Can you hear me?
Yes, sorry, you cut out there for a moment. And I just want you to reiterate, I was checking some information. I was listening to you, but I was checking some information to back up what you were saying. You mentioned the fact that if this was happening elsewhere, it would be big news. Yet the people have Inishowen, and to be honest with you, Falcarra, Downings, Carragard, Ballyshannon yesterday, are any other counties experiencing outages like this, disruptions to service like this? But you say if this was elsewhere, it would be big news, but we just have to endure it.
Yeah, there seems to be a total disregard for Donegal to a certain extent by the mainstream national media. I mean, I know for sure if the water had been off for 24 hours in Dublin 4, it would have been the first item on the news. That's the situation. Whereas in certain other parts of the country, it just seems, well, they take second place to other issues. And that's not fair. It really isn't fair. But it's also the fact that people running businesses, things like this, they do need notice. And you said about the text system and emails. The most vulnerable people are the older people who need water, and they are not signed up for emails and going online on the internet and things like this. And indeed, some younger people want to sort of cut themselves off in social media. I've kind of cut myself off in social media.
Me too, except Facebook. But also a lot of those people you talk of, their principal heating supply is a back boiler in an open fire or in a stove as well.
Yeah.
And the water goes off, that, all of a sudden your heating could be gone as well. Patricia, listen, great points well made. We're going to get onto Irish Water, Ishgaren, to try and get some clarity on it. I do appreciate it, your time and helping us keep the issue to the fore. If you've any views in relation to that, do let us know. We'll be back after these.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from €40,000 to €600,000 with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
Planning a celebration? Discover the brand new Lily's Restaurant at the Mount Errigal Hotel. A stylish new space with beautiful surroundings and your own private bar. Perfect for birthdays, communions, anniversaries and more. Book now at Res Diary or call 074 912 2700.
Tired of car troubles? Your brand new 252 Suzuki awaits at Barry Brown Cars. With 0% finance, a rock-solid 10-year warranty, and Suzuki's legendary reliability, you can drive away with complete confidence. Visit Barry Brown Cars in Milford or Donegal Town today. Your journey to 10 years of worry-free motoring starts here.
Join us for Alzheimer's Memory Walk, supported by Aviva, taking place on Sunday, September the 21st. Let's walk together for the 64,000 people living with dementia across Ireland. Register now for your pack and find a walk near you at memorywalk.ie or call 01 207 3800. Together we walk, together we remember.
Our McCullough Jewellers in Letterkenny are synonymous with fine jewellery, quality watches and giftware, with stores at Main Street, Letterkenny and the Letterkenny Shopping Centre, or online at ourmccullough.com. You can choose from their quality product range in a relaxed atmosphere, and their sales staff will be happy to help you make the right choice, whatever the occasion. Our McCullough Jewellers, making moments magical for generations.
Imagine if you could test drive everything in life. Marriage, new jobs, even your in-laws. Well, at least with your next car you can. At iMotors, we've been helping Donegal families for over 50 years find quality used cars they can trust. All 100% checked and come with a warranty. Take one for a spin today. Visit us in Letterkenny, Malin Village or at imotors.ie.
iMotors, fearless generation.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhinney's. Get back to school sorted with all the essentials from school jumpers to shoes. Visit our kidswear department in store or shop online at mcelhinney's.com today.
Right, let's have a look at that weather forecast. Wet and blustery start for today with longer spells of rain, heavy at times. Occasionally heavy showers will move in behind from the early afternoon with spot flooding and isolated thunder possible. Now, highest temperatures today 15 to 17 degrees in moderate to fresh southwesterly winds, gusty at times near our Atlantic coast. So that's the weather forecast for you. Yesterday, we had a brief inquiry in about the appointment of a neurologist at Letterkenny University Hospital, and I did commit to get an answer for you in relation to that, and I can read the response. It is as follows. Letterkenny University Hospital and HSE West and Northwest are pleased to confirm that a locum consultant neurologist is scheduled to commence on Monday the 8th of September. This appointment will significantly enhance the neurology services in the hospital and work towards alleviating waiting times for our patients and improving access to specialist neurology care. So, a locum consultant neurologist starts work in the hospital on Monday the 8th of September. So that's a very specific response to that question. Irish Water giving us excuse after excuse. Burst, reservoir low. Every day it's coming on but never does. Latest on the website. See below, they've sent a link. I've seen the website and I know exactly where you're coming from. Tell Patricia she's lucky she doesn't live in Urris. The water is off 2 or 3 days a week. What's going on? I mean, that's just hard to live with. I'm a foster carer in Donegal and have 2 children, says the listener. It can be weeks and weeks before social workers get back to you. One of my children has a new one, and it took 4 months for a social worker to visit, but it's not their fault. There is one link worker in our area that deals with the whole of Inishowen and one administrator, and they're inundated with paperwork. One idea would be for link workers or social workers to have one person to do the paperwork. That's the one thing holding them back. All they need is a clerical officer. Another issue is that there are a lot of children coming into the country and they end up in care along with Irish children. Too many people coming into the country. There are also not enough foster carers for the amount of children. Another solution could be to provide respite for foster carers, for someone to take the children 1 day a week to give the foster parent a break. And yeah, it's interesting actually in that whole conversation about TUSLA resources and the support of children. That also then has a knock-on effect for foster carers, which is very, very difficult. Thanks for your insight and helping me understand that a little bit more. I got €30 petrol in that filling station you were talking about yesterday, and they took €125 from my account. That was last Friday evening. Today, I'm still owed €89. I only noticed it because I got a notification to say I had €30 fees for missing 2 direct debits. I then had to go to the bank and put money in. Who's responsible for my fees? Listen, I don't know. That's a big one. That's an important one. Just a couple of things in relation to that. We're chasing it up off air. Is there any sign at this service station that indicates that this is a problem? Caroline, we have to mention the station. It's which one? Because it's the same one. Okay, they did give us an answer. Okay, it's the same one over again in a particular area. And it seems to be this one station where we get this notification from. It's not across the board. There's lots of sort of self-service, pay and pump operators, and we don't get it routinely. It always comes back to one. So we're going to give the company a right to reply, of course. That's in the works, and we'll get back to that. Right. Like I said, Greg, this is self-inflicted. If we didn't require social work 3rd level in order to get a job in social work, we'd have more people going in for the job. Start a social work fast course with Garda vetting and TUSLA employment at the end, and we'll see a sharp increase in numbers. Indeed, and I remember your initial comment on that, and thank you very much for getting back to me to sort of bolster your point there. Paul McLaughlin of Ballochdur Garden Centre is in after 11, taking your gardening questions. My potted plants, the summer flowers, they're gone now. I ripped the last of them out. I think it's still a little bit early for winter bedding. I'm not really quite sure, but we shall see. these are some of the questions I have for Paul McLaughlin. I want to retain the flower pots, but as I say, the summer plants, as hard as I tried to retain them, they've died off now. So I'm going to be heading down the road to get some winter bedding, if that's what it's called. But maybe you've got some other questions. Maybe you're not ready to ask autumn winter questions yet, but if you are, get them into us. 086 60 25,000. We always get a great rush of questions when Paul comes on. So get them into us nice and early, and I guarantee you then that I'll be able to answer your questions. Coming up a little later on as well, we're going to be talking about this bee that's been spotted around Ireland and the potential impact it could have on the honeybee population. So there are those that would be concerned about bees out in the wild, and there's many of you out there keeping bees as well. So we'll try and ascertain what the potential risk is and how we move forward in relation to that. So stay tuned for that as well. That and so much more besides. And just to remind you that we still have €15,000 up for grabs as part of our summer mega cash draw giveaway. $2,500 being given away on David James's show tomorrow afternoon. $2,500 the following Friday morning on Lee Gooch's Naughty Alarm Clock, and then $10,000 on this show tomorrow week. There are 3 draws, 3 big money prizes. If you want to join the list of winners, well, you can only do so by having a ticket. If you bought your ticket right at the beginning, relax, you're in. But if you want to be in the 3 draws, you need to get your ticket between now and around about this time tomorrow. Give us a call at the radio station if you want your ticket. It's 07491 25,000, or go on our website. Back with more after the news and obituary notices.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
Planning a trip between Donegal and Glasgow this summer? Loganair has added more flights to give even more choice for your summer travel. Fly Wednesday, Friday, Saturdays and Sundays. Enjoy more flexibility for your adventures, plus a free 15 kg check-in bag. Book now at www.loganair.co.uk. Terms and conditions apply.
All around Ireland, ordinary people are doing amazing things every single day with Return. They're turning empty bottles and cans into everything from vaccines to volunteer rescue boats. Like Buncrana Hearts Football Club, who are raising money through Return for sports equipment. Now, thanks to empty bottles and cans, their pitch is full. Join the thousands of initiatives using Return for Good at return.ie.
The Easy Living Furniture mid-season sale ends this Sunday. Enjoy massive savings in store and online with hundreds of special offers across all of our departments, including sofas, dining, bedroom, mattresses, home accessories and more. Your dream home starts here. Quality furniture at prices made for you. The mid-season sale ends this Sunday at Easy Living Furniture, Crescent Link Retail Park, Derry, Londonderry.
Sheep sales surged by €100 a head. In this week's Irish Farmers Journal, we examined what is driving the record rise in sheep prices. Warning of €500 million blow to milk checks if derogation is lost. Minister Healy-Rae opposed to rise in tractor driving age. Farmers push back against policy change to Fair Deal scheme. Minister Hayden declares long-awaited TB rules imminent. Plus, don't miss our essential guide for going to college. Only inside this week's Irish Farmers Journal, on sale now.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's 10 o'clock. Donald Kavanagh at the news desk. Secretaries and caretakers are striking at schools across the country this morning. They're calling for access to the public sector pension scheme. Over 2,000 schools are impacted. Forza Trade Union says picketing will continue until an agreement is reached. A number of school secretaries and caretakers from Donegal are en route to Dublin for a protest outside the Department of Education later today. One of them, Bridgetta, says being on strike is uncharted territory. But on today's 9 till noon show, she told Greg Hughes she doesn't believe they have a choice.
It's just shocking to me at this stage of my life that I have to go and strike for a pension. I have colleagues on this bus who have been in the service for 32 years. They have to walk out of their job with nothing, not even a pension at the end of it. It's crazy. It's just crazy. We're going into uncharted territory right now. We don't really know where this is going to end up. Like, it's going to have to play out day by day.
HSE West and North West has confirmed that a local consultant neurologist, is scheduled to commence work at Letterkenny University Hospital on Monday week, next the 8th of September. They say this appointment will significantly enhance the neurology service at the hospital and work toward alleviating waiting times for patients and improving access to specialist neurology care. There's a warning that removing the nitrates derogation could cost 1 in 8 dairy farmers their jobs. New figures released by IBEC show that up to €45 billion in the Irish economy is at risk, due largely to a reduction in dairy exports. It comes as the EU enters the final phase of negotiations for the removal of the exemption of the nitrates directive for Irish farmers. The business lobby group is calling for a balancing of environmental ambition with economic reality. The funeral of a 9-year-old boy who died last week in Dunloe is getting underway this morning. Joey Forker was fatally injured in an incident at his home in Mina Cross. He'll be laid to rest at Maharagallan Cemetery in Gweedore. A number of people who sat their driving test in Buncrana in the past week did not have access to toilet facilities at the test centre. Local councillor Fionn Bradley says he received numerous calls in relation to the matter. Following correspondence he made with the RSA, Councillor Bradley was told the decision was made by facilities management in the Department of Social Protection due to consistent misuse. Councillor Bradley says while the exact nature of the misuse is yet to be determined, it likely means that the general public were using the facilities rather than those who had an appointment. If this is the case, Councillor Bradley says the department has overreacted.
I mean, in my opinion, it seems as if the department, took a sledgehammer to crack open a nut with this particular issue. So what they've said that they are going to do is get a fob put on the door of the toilet so that both Department of Social Protection staff and indeed the RSA staff, which are the driving testers, that they will then be able to open the toilets for anybody, but I mean specifically for the test applicants, the people who are going to sit their driving test.
Parents of pupils attending Cranach College are being warned of a scam text that's being circulated. The text purports to be from the school advising parents that there is a €30 locker fee that must be paid, along with a link for the bill. A spokesperson from the school in Buncrana says they did not send that message and the link should not be clicked. A child is among 10 people killed in Russian drone and missile attacks on Kyiv overnight. Residential blocks and other buildings were hit across 7 districts of the Ukrainian capital. President Volodymyr Zelensky says it shows Moscow is choosing ballistics instead of the negotiating table. Homelessness can have a traumatic impact on children and parents, according to a leading charity. Barnardo's is calling on the government to take urgent action to protect them. Its latest homelessness briefing shows around 1 in 5 children supported by the charity live in unsuitable accommodation that directly damages their childhoods. Barnardo's National Policy Manager Stephen Moffat says it can have a significant impact.
It's traumatic for the children and for the parents. For the parents, often they may be worrying for a couple of months in the run-up, but they're getting very limited support, if any support at all. They're being told, once you become homeless or once you're evicted, come to us, to the local authority. We'll try and find you accommodation. Very little apart from that. For children, often parents don't tell them that they're going to become homeless, so they try and keep it from them. So it can be a very sudden impact on them.
Weather forecast wet and blustery with some longer spells of rain, heavy at times, occasional heavy showers moving in from early afternoon with spot flooding and isolated thunderstorms possible. A yellow weather warning remains in place until 6 o'clock this evening. Highest temperatures of 15 to 17 degrees Celsius in moderate to fresh southwesterly winds. And that's Highland Radio News. We're back with news headlines again at 11 o'clock. Check all the day's news on highlandradio.com. But for now, from the news team, good morning.
The obituary notices this Thursday morning, August 28th. The death has taken place of Catherine McNulty, ní Wilkinson, Umerfad, Creasla. Her remains will be reposing at her late residence today from 3 o'clock. Funeral Mass in St Michael's Church, Creasla on Saturday at 3 o'clock. Burial is afterwards in Doe Cemetery. Funeral Mass can be viewed on mcn.live. Family time please from 10 p.m. to 11 a.m. and on the morning of the funeral. Family flowers only please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Donegal Hospice, care of any family member or James Harkin, Funeral Director. The death has taken place of John James Ward, 6 Mill Glen, Glencroe, Moville. John James's remains will leave Eamon McLaughlin's funeral home, Station Road, Carndonagh, today at 1 o'clock, going to his home. Family home is private to family and close friends, please. Funeral from there tomorrow at 9:30 for 10 o'clock Requiem Mass in St Pius X Church, Moville, followed by interment in Ballybrack Cemetery. Funeral Mass can be viewed live on movilleparish.com. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu, if desired, to the Parkinson's Research Ireland, care of any family member or Eamon McLaughlin, funeral director. The death has occurred of Rosaleen McCool, Glebe Stranorler. Remains are reposing at her late residence today and tomorrow from 1 p.m. until Rosary at 9 p.m. each day. Funeral leaving from her late residence on Saturday at 10:30 for Requiem Mass in the Church of Mary Immaculate Stranorler at 11 o'clock. Interment in Drumbo Cemetery. The Requiem Mass will be streamed live via the parish webcam at churchservices.tv. Donations in lieu of flowers, if so desired, directly to the Donegal Hospice or care of any family member. Family time on the morning of the funeral, please. The death has occurred in Croydon, London, of Kathleen McHugh ní Mathewson, formerly of Killahy Rafo, reposing at her residence in Kiltown, Killygordon, today from 1 o'clock until 9 o'clock. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 10:30 for Requiem Mass in St Patrick's Church, Crossroads, Killygordon at 11 o'clock, followed by interment in the adjoining churchyard. Family time, please, on the morning of the funeral. Requiem Mass can be viewed live on the Killygordon Parish YouTube channel. The death has taken place of Sarah Jane Jean Keatley, ní Hamilton, late of 16 Lahall Road, Killincastle, reposing at her late home today until 9 o'clock. Service of thanksgiving for the life of Jean will be held in her late home tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock, followed by committal in St Bestia's Church Graveyard. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu, if desired, to St Bestia's Church Bright and Beautiful Restoration Fund, made payable to Robert Armstrong and Son Funeral Directors, Enterprise Centre, 1 Drumquin Road, Castlederg. The death has occurred of Mary Gillespie, ní Gallagher, Lettermack Award in Carrick. Funeral Mass this morning at 11 o'clock in St Columba's Church, Carrick, with burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Family flowers only. Donations, if desired, to the Donegal Community Hospital. For family information and more details regarding wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
Back to school lunches get 10 out of 10 for value. There's a whole range of tasty things to choose from, including bake-at-home white rolls, 4 for 95 cent. Wafer-thin ham was $1.49, now just 99 cent. And 100% fruit kids smoothies, $2.49. Tell you what, someone's done their homework. Good food, good mood. From Aldi, while stocks last.
Good morning and a very welcome back to the 9 till noon show. We're into the second hour of this Thursday show. I hope you're all very well indeed out there, wherever you are listening to us. Right, let's get to some of your comments and other matters before we take the obituary notices. Of course, this is jackpot day, so I know some of you are very anxious to get those numbers. Johnny, who was on to us, he was speaking to us. He's a caretaker in a school. He was on a bus heading Dublin. Johnny's much more than a caretaker. He's an absolute gentleman and so good to all the children. Hopefully they all get what they deserve. 100% behind you all. And what they want is the same as what other people are getting. Doing the exact same job, just employed directly by the Department of Education rather than by the board of the school, with money from the Department of Education. Hi, I'm sending this email about the public toilets. It's awful how people treat public toilets. People have no respect or manners. I've been helping out cleaning Portaloos this last couple of weeks, and what I've seen has left me speechless. The way people use Portaloos is on another level. For what people do in the toilet is beyond me. Food and drink left in them. The number of clothing items that I've found. Boxers, pants, t-shirts, socks, trousers. I could wash them and open a shop. And for the toilet roll, what is the thing with toilet roll? Putting full rolls down the toilets, peeing on full rolls, throwing it on the ground. If that's what people treat toilets like, what must their house be like? This is interesting because these are public toilets that are in a wild state. And does something happen to certain people when they go into toilets where they throw full toilet rolls down the toilet and piddle on them? Or they just tear tons of toilet paper and just leave it there and piddle on it or what have you. It has to be mostly fellas. Beer cans, plastic cups, food packaging. Who is bringing food or drink, for that matter, into a public toilet? It is absolutely disgraceful, and something seems to twig in some people's minds, when they go into these toilets. You couldn't treat a toilet in a house like it because it would be unusable after about a couple of hours. I don't know what's the story or what's going on there. Rightio, let's talk about fishing, because yesterday we were talking about the dumping of non-native oysters on the banks of Lough Foyle. It's a horrible thing that's going on because it's rotten flesh as well. These aren't just discarded shells. That would be bad enough in and of itself. Where is the article on the dumped oysters published? Pacific oysters should not be in Atlantic waters. They compete with the native oysters. It's ecocide. Well, this is an unregulated area and is common in the Foyle. Liam O'Brien says that the Foyle has been abused. It's going to be a crisis, and the oyster industry is already in crisis. They grow to a certain size and then they're discarded. Then they're left to accumulate. They are not meeting the standards. There were also jet skis doing 60 miles per hour. There's no regulation at all. It's out of control. Another, it's Inland Fisheries that's responsible for our lochs and the Lochs Agency. So that's one person's point of view. Another, North Inishowen is the same. There must be millions of rubber bands there discarded because oyster fishermen are leaving them there. Because it's unregulated, when the market finishes, which is close to now, all the equipment will be abandoned there. I was flabbergasted by the scale of the amount of trestles, effectively. Hundreds of thousands of them. I mean, that's farming on a big scale. Lots of you messaged into about the cost of living. A caller says we're paying extra for alcohol because of Charlie McCreevy. It was a similar situation to the petrol costs. It was falling apart because everyone was going north to buy it. So they put a levy on to help build the government finances, and they've just added to it every year. Me and my family had breakfast recently in the Mountain Top Diner. It was great food and great service and very reasonably priced, Jerry believes. As once worked within the family butcher's business, you wouldn't mix different meats together to sell as another product to make more money. You give the customer what they're looking for, nothing less. We were told not to use plastics to package meat, and then told it was okay to use. Cost of living would have to be cut to make everything affordable. Stop the middlemen fleecing customers. That's off the back of a story we carried whereby, and it's not being done under the table, and it's not something you would see commonly in your local family butchers, but certain shops now are mixing pork mince in with mince meat, beef effectively. It is labelled, but people are getting an inferior product, and some reports that the cost is still as high, even though the cost to put it out onto the counter is less. Hi Greg, my friend was in Dublin 2 weeks ago in a hotel. €75 for a fillet steak was on the menu. Now, I would need, and I'm sorry to bring it down to this, I'd need the entire cow to come in for €75 for a fillet steak. What annoys me now is you go to a restaurant and a nice dessert like apple pie and cream, the fake cream is out of a can. The dairy farmer should be up in arms about this, and the customer is paying a higher price than ever for a basic apple pie and cream. Interesting. I haven't come across that myself, but I wouldn't be a massive dessert eater. It just depends what's on the menu. A caller believes it's going to be a tough winter with the cost of living. I blame the government. Another, it's no wonder people have no money for basics like a decent lunch if they have to pay about €1,800 a month in rent. The woes of this country have a lot to do with landlords, which is fueled by a lack of housing, which is a result of government not building houses. Many politicians are landlords. Maybe it suits them that there's a housing crisis. $16.50 for soup and sandwich. Gosh, I'd make dinner for 5 people at home as many times I did. No wonder people aren't eating out. But yeah, that's the cost, and it depends on what your income is. Because by the time a business person makes that soup from scratch, makes the sandwich from scratch and all the materials, pays someone to serve the table, pays the water rates, pays the electricity, they are saying there's not a great deal of money in that soup and sandwich for $16.50. So they can't open a restaurant or a cafe and not make money. You have to make money, right? So you have to charge what some people will pay. But that does mean people like you will stay at home and make dinner for 5 people, many times over for the same amount. And that's the problem with the industry, isn't it? They would far prefer if the raw materials and electricity and water was cheaper, because they could provide a cheaper product cost-wise and have the restaurant full. I don't think anyone wants a half-full restaurant. Shame on a text you had earlier on blaming refugee. Well, I don't know what that's in relation to. The price of tea in some restaurants is terrible. $10.50 for a pot of tea. No, that can't be right. €10.50 for a pot of tea. Seriously? My word, a tea bag and a bit of water. Surely not. $10.50 for a pot of tea. Wow. Okay, that's a shocker. I'm not going to lie to you. Again, tea's not something I'd buy an awful lot. I'd have a glass of mineral or a beer, depending on the time of day or where we're at, or driving, or whatever the story is. But tea, $10.50, because and also too, I find myself, if there's an all-day breakfast, going for that, and generally it comes with tea. Anyway, okay, here's the bingo numbers. Good luck if you're playing.
It's time for Vision Ireland Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Thursday, the 28th of August, Jackpot Day. You're playing for the jackpot prize of €9,000 on the pink sheet. The reference number is S14. It's game number 35. The jackpot number is 87. This number can come out in any position from the next 10 numbers drawn. And now, here are your daily numbers. 59, 86, 54, 52, 62, 49, 39, 76, 11, and finally 7. Phone your claim to 9104833 before midnight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your Vision Ireland bingo information at highlandradio.com.
Who's watching your home while you're asleep, at work, or on holiday? With the Sheridan Security Alarm System, you can be assured of round-the-clock monitoring. Our central monitoring station is on duty 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, monitoring homes and businesses in the northwest for intruder, fire, panic, and medical signals, giving you the peace of mind you deserve. Sheridan Security Systems, Bonagee, Letterkenny, protecting what you value most. Call us for a free quotation on 9126. 6025.
Attention all contractors and defective home contractors. National Fuels Letterkenny is now supplying Semcor cement. From a single bag for the DIY enthusiast to full pallet loads for contractors, all at very competitive prices. Call 074 91 37 400. National Fuels Letterkenny. Also available in our Churchill and Dunlow depots.
Back to school at Brian McCormick Sports. Tracksuit bottoms, backpacks and back to school trainers. 20% off Adidas trainers for kids and adults. Click on BMC Sports for your back to school needs. Brian McCormick Sports, Main Street, Letterkenny.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today.
Just to remind you, coming up after 11, Paul McLaughlin of Ballochder Garden Centre is in studio. He's answering any questions you might have about your garden, your lawn, plants you have in your balcony. Maybe you're not lucky enough to have some outdoor space and you're using a window, your mantelpiece. Well, hardly your mantelpiece. Who's a window over the mantelpiece? Windowsill. You know where I'm coming from. Okay, that's one expert coming up after 11 o'clock. I've got an expert in studio with me right now. It's Karen Harkin, owner of Karen Harkin Professional, based out of Lifford. Good morning to you. Thanks so much for calling up.
Thank you, Greg.
Over, down, I haven't a clue. It doesn't matter.
Over.
You go over to Letterkenny, do you?
Yeah,
Okay.
do so.
What about Buncrana?
Not much, no.
But would you go up to it or down to it?
Down.
What about Dublin?
Down.
Belfast?
Up.
Right, that's the settling in period over.
Yes,
okay,
quick
fire questions. Now,
okay.
Yesterday we were reading from a survey, Karen, which was conducted online amongst 1,149 women aged between 18 and 65. 35% of women have issues with thinning hair. Breakage and thinning are the top two hair concerns with women. 76% of women have noticed hair loss during periods of stress. Right, Karen? I think it's great that this starts a conversation because people can be very conscious about their hair, and it's not just how it might be styled or it's how it makes them feel.
Not just women, Greg, it is males and children as well. If that study was done throughout the whole genders, it would be a lot bigger, I would say. So that's a lot bigger problem than it actually.
So what do you find you're hearing from your clients? I mean, does 1 in 4 sort of align with what you feel is happening out there?
Yeah, and the women definitely. So after we come back from the COVID lockdown, it was really severe. So I kind of really focused on that area then and kind of educated myself on why it's happening. So COVID did play a big factor as well and caused a lot of after effects of illness. Again, you've got your cancer, so it's such a big player.
And just in relation to, and we'll go through some of those, but just in relation to the coming out of COVID, there were some reports that having COVID was leading to hair loss or thinning hair. And then I did interviews with some hairdressers, stylists afterwards, and there was a sense that it did grow back if that was the cause of it.
Yeah, it did definitely grow back, but it played havoc in the bodies and the systems. There was such a lot of hair loss from after that. But again, a lot of other issues after COVID that, I don't know, maybe there's underlying health issues from it.
Yeah. So you mentioned alopecia there, and I think often because of people that speak out and advocates of alopecia, often we would consider that to be complete baldness. But often you get women and men with alopecia where they'll get a significant patch of hair loss. Now, they can cover it, but they're conscious of it and is there. That is also alopecia, effectively, isn't it?
There is. There's so many different sorts of alopecia. There's alopecia areata, male pattern baldness, female pattern baldness, frontal fibrosis alopecia, and again, spotting alopecia. I've seen that a lot in children.
Why children, do you think? Is it the pressures?
Pressures. There's, again, it attacks the nervous system, so trauma. There's loads of issues that cause it. Alopecia areata is an autoimmune disease that attacks the hair follicle. So again, it's something, a lack of something or trauma that's caused in somebody's life.
Do we? Yeah, exactly. Because even though we have a name for alopecia, we don't really. The professionals haven't necessarily figured out precisely what's happening. Is it going to come back? Is it not going to come back? And so on and so forth. Right. So in terms of your digging into this a little bit more post-COVID, like what did you discover? What surprised you? And then we'll talk a little bit how you're helping your clients in this area.
What surprised me was the volume of hair loss. So I just dug into educating myself on why it's happening and finding solutions for helping people with it and trying to get their hair back to what it was before they lost it.
And hair loss can be thinning too, can't it? Like it just doesn't have as much volume as it used to have.
A lot of women have that, Yeah,
okay.
Menopause causes that again, hormonal imbalance.
Yeah, because some of it can be age-related, can't it? Yeah. And it doesn't mean you can't help yourself with it, but some of it can be age-related and what have you. We're talking about an age category from 18 to 65 in this study. Yes. So, hormone issues or menopause or what have you are not always going to be a factor.
No, they're not. Weight loss, illness, again, vitamin deficiency. There is a lot of underlying health issues that causes the hair loss.
Right. So before we talk about how you help your clients, talk to me a little bit about the impact it has on them.
Oh, I've seen so many clients that's come to me from all over Ireland now. I've treated ladies in Cork, Belfast. It's just life-changing. Their whole confidence is taken. And a lady said to me, she just hates looking in the mirror.
Really, yeah.
So it just
dreads
changes.
A wedding invitation,
doesn't
a special
go out.
birthday.
Doesn't go out.
Really. And, I suppose too, it's maybe difficult to talk about, and the salon or your clinic becomes a safe place too to just vent it and say,
Absolutely.
This is how this has been impacting
Yeah,
on me.
I have a clinic based in Lifford there, private consultation rooms. It's all catered for.
Yeah.
I can cater for everybody as much as I can.
Talk to me then about how you're helping people, and obviously your reputation has gone beyond Lifford if you're talking about people from Cork and down the country calling up. So if someone comes into you with hair loss, what's the process?
So first of all, I do a consultation and assess the hair loss, what it is. I give them 4 or 5 solutions. It's again based on lifestyle, the amount of hair loss, what's the best system for you to use. we then go through different options of hair replacements, and both of us did make the decision together. It's not just me. Again, the client has to be happy with what they're getting. So,
but when you sort of say to someone that, you know, lifestyle or stress or diet might, do people take that on board, or they kind of, do you get a pushback on that?
No, they take it on board.
They're happy enough.
Again, I'm here to advise clients. I'm not here to push anything on them.
Yeah, of course.
It's just to, you know, give you options and loads of solutions of what is available.
And much of it, other than obviously when we start talking about, and we can talk about sort of hair pieces, or you know, it doesn't have to be a full head of hair, I presume. A lot of this is long term, so they have to buy into what you're saying, don't they? You know, when am I going to see results? We're sort of conditioned now to want something straight away, aren't we? But there has to be a commitment from them, I presume.
Yeah, so the body has to be treated from the inside. I'm not a trichologist as of yet. I'm hoping to be in the future.
Okay.
But I treat the outside. So as a hairstylist, trying to give them back the hair that they lost and replicating it. So I asked them to bring me in a picture of what their hair once was, and then I choose the best system and colour it and cut it to what they used to be before they lost it.
Okay. And that makes them walk out the door feeling less conscious about it.
Oh, the feedback I've been getting is just, you know, so fulfilling for me as a person and doing what I'm doing. To be able to help so many women, again, children as well, and I've treated males. Yeah,
of course. Yeah, for sure. So, obviously, outside of the styling and what have you, what other advice are you giving to clients, dependent on a case-by-case basis? So, say someone, you know, 30, their hair's thinning, or they have a patch of alopecia, or what have you. And I think, too, if you're stressed about something like that there, you actually get extra stressed.
Yes,
so, rather than finding a way to fix it, you're getting more stressed, and it's there longer or spread. So with you working on the outside, what can you do for people?
Again, it's giving them back the hair that they lost, giving them back their confidence. I've had people saying I've changed their lives. And again, so fulfilling for me and so rewarding. So I've put in so much into my education, trying to figure out best solutions for ladies. Being happy to endorse my qualifications with a fantastic lady in Kildare trained me, and just finding solutions and trying getting funding. So there is funding as well.
Talk to me a bit more about that.
The funding. So again, there's a HSE funding and there's the PSI grant. Again, you can get it from your private health insurance as well. So your HSE goes up to 770. So
and what's that covering?
So that's for ladies with going through chemotherapy, cancer. So you have to have a medical card and a letter signed from the doctor stating what medical condition of hair loss you have. You bring that to me with your medical card, and I put it in through my system, through the vendorship with the HSE, and I'm able to get that funding for you. So it's a huge, huge help. So for somebody that's not working, Greg, or you know, that is really ill, that don't have to travel to Dublin, that I'm here on the doorstep for ladies in Donegal. Not only Donegal, again, I have worked with ladies all around Ireland, and I can get the funding everywhere there as well.
There's been huge advances too in, you know, hair pieces, wigs, etc., hasn't there? Because, you know,
phenomenal.
I think people listening who maybe tried this in the 70s or 80s, you know, sweating, itching, it not looking natural. I mean, you style it as well. The hair is, you style the hair as if it were a head of hair.
So going back to what you said there, the wigs that were previously given to women, what they've said to me is just so hot, so unnatural looking, so big, just didn't mimic their own hair. Whereas I come into play and I just can do it with 100% human hair, and just give them back the hair they lost.
Yeah, for sure. Because if you're incredibly conscious about it, the finished product as you go through your treatment, if that's what's triggered the hair loss, it has to look as good as your hair did previously, or else you're still going to feel the same, aren't you?
And it's making women, just giving them back their confidence, to be able to go out the door again and make them feel like themselves.
In terms of products that can be applied, have you come across any that are particularly successful?
Not yet. Again, Regain is quite good. It is quite good. It's been there a long time, but it does work. There's so many processes of the hair fall, and again, a trichologist would be the best to give advice on that. Rosemary oil is a great natural remedy. Massaging that in every night can bring back hair follicles and the blood
Do you think
supply.
I could bring back hair follicles, or is it too late?
I think it's a wee bit too late for you,
Is
Greg.
it really?
Sorry.
So I just have this 6 head forever, and it's not even a 4 head anymore.
You could give it a go. Everything's worth a shot. Why
you
not?
know, I would. Part of me actually would. You see, I'm lucky, and that's why I sort of went straight to women. I'm lucky that in my early 20s, and my 4-year-old's got the same hair as I had, right? He's got widow peaks, he's 4. But his mum's a hairdresser, so that's all right. We'll get that sorted. But I never really, my hair grew in different directions. I never liked it, you know, and I consciously shaved mine off.
Yeah.
So, and it gave me confidence. Isn't that strange? So I can very much understand and relate to the stresses it puts on fellas losing the hair,
Yes.
but it's not something I ever personally experienced, and I don't think I could do hair now, if you know what I mean. But as you quite rightly pointed out at the start, hair loss can have a huge impact on children, which especially in school, it's tough, isn't it?
Yeah. Again, a few children was spotting, and I've made molds for this couple of kids. Because it's completely bald, it doesn't come off, so it's a semi-permanent solution.
Okay, so it's almost like a patch you put
It's a
in?
hair patch, yeah, and it can be used at the front hairline. It can be used on the back, any sort of hair loss or any volume. So what I do is make a mold off that area. I then cut out human hair piece, and it's glued on with a medical adhesive.
And then cut in.
And then it's cut and coloured, totally undetectable.
Do women go for that a bit?
They do, absolutely.
I mean, listen, I don't know the ins and outs of it, but you know, if you use extensions, there can be a bit of weight to that.
Yeah,
and if
yeah.
you have an area of hair whereby it's thinning,
And
the
you're
less
pulling again, yeah.
pull you're putting on that, really, the better. So that's proven to be a solution for.
Absolutely. And go back to the frontal fibrosis alopecia for the
Talk
women.
to me about what is that?
Sorry.
What is that?
Frontal fibrosis. Again, an autoimmune disease. So it attacks the hair follicle.
So where would the hair loss be present on a woman in that situation?
Oh, I've seen ladies come back and their hair is completely gone to the back of the crown nearly.
Oh,
you
right,
know.
okay.
And it is so...
And does it widen? Is it like the parting widening?
The whole lot gone.
Okay,
the whole lot gone. So that new U system's fantastic for that. Again, I have a lady that I do this on, and she gets 9 weeks out of it before she's to come back to me to get it taken off and the scalp nourished and cleansed and then re-put back on. But it's fantastic. That lady just smiles every time I put it back on her head again.
Can she wash and dry hair as normal?
Absolutely,
so the glue, I'm sure it's more complex than a glue. But yeah, I am an elderly woman and I used to have lots of hair, and recently, around 8 weeks ago, lost a lot of hair, and I'm now on antibiotics. And it's right too that person's getting medical treatment, because the sudden loss of hair, obviously there's something going on.
Something underlying, yeah, absolutely.
B12 injections help with hair loss in menopause, do they?
They absolutely do, yeah. Iron, folic acid is another fantastic supplement.
As a hairdresser, you will know, you can tell an awful lot about a person from their hair.
Yeah.
You know, about whether they're run down, not run down, stressed or not stressed. Yeah. Over the years, I'm sure you've picked that up. Really, where I'm getting to is that we really need to be conscious that, you know, our hair tells a lot about us. And if we're not well, if we're stressed or what have you, or going through treatment, that's where it's going to manifest for many people.
Big time. Illness, underlying issues. The weight loss is another big issue.
Talk to me a little bit about that, because obviously, you know, we've seen a massive explosion in the popularity of weight loss drugs, for an example.
Yes, the Pajero.
Pajero, exactly, and so on and so forth. How does weight loss, do we know how weight loss affects hair?
Because of the lack of nutrition that's going into the body. So when you're on Pajero, you really need to supplement your system. May it be juicing or supplementing with your vitamins. Iron, folic acid and B12 are the 3 main major supplements you would need. And again, juicing, where you're not putting on a big calorie intake, but your body is getting nutrients.
Yeah, that also, because we did a feature on this a couple of weeks ago too, gyms are seeing a lot of muscle mass being lost as well. It's indiscriminate, and if you're not training or if you're not focusing on that, you know, you could find yourself skinny, in inverted commas, but with, you know, damaged hair, or, you know, you might not then be happy with your physical shape.
It's suppressing your appetite, so of course you're not eating, so you're not getting anything that the body needs. So be mindful of that when you are going on Pajero and the weight loss drugs, that you do take extra care to supplement your body for your whole system and immunity.
Do you, if someone comes in and you broach that with them, do they be surprised that weight loss could
Women don't like to talk about it now, Greg. They don't like to tell their secrets that they're on the but I would kind of know anyway, just being on the salon.
Of course, it's experience.
It's experience,
Yeah,
absolutely.
exactly. Anything else important to mention, Karen?
They've covered the Parasite grants. What do we see? No, I think that's everything. Again, a lot of ladies use these hair pieces just for the blow dry in the box. You know, corporate busy women just want that
What
instant
have you
hair.
just said? Stop saying things. Blow dry in a box.
Blow dry in a box.
What's that?
That's what I use it for, Greg.
What is it?
It's your instant hairstyle.
Oh, right.
You don't have to go to the salon anymore.
Right,
You just get your hair blow dried.
It's a blow dry in a box.
And you pop
Okay,
it
I
on in the morning,
understand.
you're good to go. Away you go to your work.
Hi, Greg. I missed. What oils did Karen recommend you massage into your hair that would promote, I suppose, healthy hair, but perhaps hair growth? Rosemary oil?
Rosemary oil.
Okay.
Yeah, so again, massaging that on every night, again, brings good blood supply back to the follicle.
Mm.
So what you want to do is stimulate your hair growth.
Yeah.
And your rosemary oil works outside.
I suddenly got 2 patches of bald on the side of my head. I'm 68 and past menopause. Any suggestions? I'm not getting any worse, but can I do anything to help regrow? You can. There's stuff you can get.
There is stuff you can get, but age plays a lot of factor when you're degenerating. You know, everything slows down.
Yeah.
So it's not.
I think too worth going into your chemist and having a chat with your chemist there, because there
Absolutely.
are products there that might stimulate it. And I think too sometimes, dependent on the cause of it, and you're the expert and you're quite right. So, but when you start treating something, it takes your mind off the what's causing you maybe anxiety or stress as well.
Absolutely.
So it might have an effect in that regard as well. We just simply don't know, because we're very complex things, Karen. We're very complex people. Right, Karen Harkin, owner of Karen Harkin Professional Lifford. I presume just search Karen Harkin Professional and people will get you.
And Karen Harkin hair enhancers on Instagram.
Okay, very good indeed.
Thank you, Greg.
All right, thanks so much for calling over. We'll be back with more after the break.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook, and at highlandradio.com. The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
If you're aged 59 to 70, we will invite you for a free HSE bowel screening home test. Screening can help find signs of bowel cancer early, before any symptoms show, making it easier to treat.
At Dunn Stores, our autumn savers will get you back into the swing of things. With Kellogg's Rice Krispies 660 gram and Capri Sun 10 pack, all better than half price. Or choose selected wines like Silver Mauki's Sauvignon Blanc, Monteliana Frizzante Blanc, or French Pinot Noir, just €7.50. And save more with your 10 off 50 or 5 off 25 vouchers. Dunn Stores. Always better value. Terms and conditions apply. Voucher can be used on next grocery shop of €50. Voucher excludes alcohol. Please drink sensibly.
For the biggest names in perfumes and aftershaves, visit McGee's Chemist Letterkenny. Dior, Armani and Hugo Boss, Victor and Rolf, Marc Jacobs and Lancôme. Also Gucci, Yves Saint Laurent, Prada and many more. From timeless classics to celebrity favourites, there's a perfume or aftershave for everyone at McGee's Chemist Letterkenny and online at mcgees.ie.
Your wedding day deserves a setting as breathtaking as your love story. At Harvey's Point in Donegal, say I do on the sparkling shores of Loch Esk, framed by the majestic Blue Stack Mountains. From romantic outdoor ceremonies to elegant receptions in our grand ballroom, every moment is designed with love and delivered with 5-star care. Harvey's Point. Love at first sight. True love forever. Start your journey with a personal viewing. Visit harveyspoint.com. Your forever begins here.
Don't delay when you get your bowel screening invitation. Call us today on 1-800 45 45 55 or visit bowelscreen.ie. From the HSE.
So, further sightings of the Asian hornet have been confirmed in Ireland. The National Parks and Wildlife Service has said it follows the sighting and capture of an Asian hornet in Cork. That sighting and capture was the second confirmed identification of an Asian hornet in Ireland and triggered the establishment of the Asian Hornet Management Group, chaired by the NPWS. Extensive monitoring was then carried out to determine if a larger population existed, and the survey team intensified efforts after the additional sightings. The location of these sightings and monitoring activities, for some reason, are not being disclosed for operational purposes, which is normally what you hear from An Garda Síochána as they try and track a gang and they don't want to let the cat out of the bag. I never thought I would hear that from the National Parks and Wildlife Service about the Asian hornet, but we are where we are, and we are with Angus Kennedy, nature guide with Nature Northwest. Angus, now don't go too far here for operational purposes, all right? How are you keeping? No, you're muted, Angus. Sorry, you're going to have to unmute for me so I can hear your dulcet tones.
Sorry about that. Yeah, we'll give away nothing, Greg. We'll give away no secrets.
Right, so...
all well, thank you.
Yeah, great stuff. The Asian hornet, before we talk about its threat to maybe the local bee population, where is it from, and does it get carried here in winds, or is someone irresponsibly, hiving them or whatever? I don't know. What's your theory?
It's Chinese based, so there's a couple of different types of hornets in China, and that's where they've been, and they've been part of the ecosystem there for a very, very long time, and that's all been okay until they were imported accidentally into France. Was the first place that they showed up, and I think it was 2004 that they first appeared in France. Down the southwest of France, there was a hive of them found, and they can reproduce pretty quickly, and they can spread over an area pretty quickly. So that's back in 2004, so 21 years ago, and now there's quite a few thousand nests in France, and they spread across Europe. But they would have been brought in with maybe pottery or maybe some plants or something like that.
So, sometimes on one of those channels high up, you'll see Australian Border Force, and they're being very fussy about certain plants coming in because it may contain eggs or something. This is the type of stuff, presumably they don't want outside insects or plants coming into their island effectively. So that's what we're talking about. That's interesting. So why are these such a threat to the native bee population? And let's face it, that's a population already facing its challenges.
Yeah, it is. Because we've nothing quite like it here, and that's the thing. When you bring in something from somewhere else, and it doesn't have any kind of biological controls, or doesn't have any way of keeping it in nature, doesn't have a way of keeping it in check in an area, it can tend to do awful damage. So we've 101 species of bee, and one of them makes honey, and all the rest are either the bumblebees or the solitary bees, as they're called. But they're all crucial for our food production, and they're crucial for our wildflowers and for just keeping our whole system going, our natural system going. But there's nothing necessarily that hunts the bees, or very few things. Some birds do, but very few things. They don't make much of an impact. So when this character comes in, the Asian hornets, they specialize in bees. Not just bees. They'll hunt all sorts of different flying creatures, but they'll hover right outside the bee's nest once they've located it and just pick them off one by one, and seem to be able to kill them very easily.
How easy is it, from what we've learned from France, to control them?
With great difficulties, yeah. Hence the slight bit of secrecy and mystery around it, but also hence the big effort and the group that's been put in place straight away. There was, as you rightly said, there was one spotted there about 4 years ago in Dublin. It must have just kind of blown over. It wasn't no hive, because we'd know about it if the hives had been produced. And then the one that was spotted in Cork just a few weeks ago, I think it's actually very impressive what they've done, because if you see a bee flying past in your garden, or a wasp flying past in your garden, they've similar kind of habits. To try and find that wasp nest will be a difficult thing to do. And that they've managed to do it, and the hornets have a greater range of flight, so the nest could be over a huge area, really. That they've managed, between various different sightings that they've had, different people going out monitoring specifically for this, to be able to track it down through triangulation, by looking at where it is, and then looking where the other ones are, and then just good old-fashioned geography that we learn in school, figuring out the distances on a map, and then honing down, and now they'll destroy that nest, and hopefully it's just the one.
We haven't seen them here in the northwest. Is that just by good luck at this point, or is there any climate factors there?
So far, it seems to be more luck than anything else, really. The climate, one would think, wouldn't help them, because it would be too cold here, particularly for the queens, because the queens hibernate, so they will go a little bit like the wasps or the bees. They'll go under little log piles and whatnot, but they wouldn't be used to the colds that we have, certainly up here in the northwest. However, as we've seen from this summer, as we've seen from recent patterns, as Met Éireann can tell us, our climate is warming and warming. And people might have noticed, I've had a few people in touch recently about a beautiful bird, the little egret. It's like a heron, and big, tall, as white can be heron, and that's something that just arrived into the country 25, 30 years ago, and now they're breeding and spreading. So the climate is, with it changing ever so slightly, it's suiting these kind of characters. But we're lucky it hasn't made it here yet.
Yeah, and when you talk about that, you could be talking about 0.5 a degree, all of these things. The ecosystem is balanced as such that they can make a difference. You talked of, like, I was a bit facetious because of the wording, right? And it's familiar with what I get from Garda press releases. Why might, though, in all seriousness from me, they withhold locations because for operational purposes? Why do you think that might be?
Well, I suppose that they'll want to be able to study it in peaks is one of the first things.
Yeah.
So to be able to see, has it spread further, what kind of population are in the nest and the rest of it. And then also when they're destroying the nest and when they're destroying the individual little hornets, if any of them spread or get out of the place, they can sting. They'll sting just like a wasp or just like a bee. It's not a terrible sting, it's sore. Most of us have been stung by wasps or bees at this stage and we know about it, but they'll just be trying to keep people away from that, and it'll be as simple as that. It'll be nothing more mysterious than that as such, you know.
And
but
in
just so
case
they
I
can get a
haven't
good
been
handle on how many of them are and are they spreading.
Yeah, and for to be abundantly clear, our conversation is about the Asian hornet's threat to bees, not people. They don't present any greater threat than a wasp or a bee or anything like that.
Yeah, they don't. The threat to us is an existential threat in a way, in that they would eventually threaten some of our pollinator species, our really important pollinator species. But if one stung you, you'd certainly be annoyed, but that's all it's going to do.
So,
in very, very rare cases, just like wasps and bees, some people can have some strong reactions, but that's very unusual.
Of course, yeah. No, the greatest threat, if I'm in the proximity of a wasp or a bee, is to myself, slapping myself around the face and such. Or running and tripping over a chair, although I've grown up a little bit since. One bee creates honey. Is it one bee creates honey in a way that we can harvest it, or one bee creates honey at all?
Yeah, that's it. So out of the 101 species of bee that we have in Ireland, only one of those species is a honeybee. And it's an amazing tactic because, of course, bees rely on flowers. The adults rely on the nectar, which is that sweet, sweet juice at the very bottom of the flower. And the flower relies on the bee because it needs the bee to move the pollen from one flower to another. And that's how the thing is fertilized and on goes the system. So some bees feed the pollen to their babies, but they all rely on the nectar. And of course, in the wintertime, there's no flowers. So most bees will die off. Some of them lay their eggs for the following year. Others will produce new queens, which will hibernate, and the rest of the colony dies off. But the honeybee is a little bit different.
It's the only one that It's the only one that gathers and stores honey.
Yeah, and it has the ability to build these little wax chambers and then to be able to process the nectar into honey, into something that's going to last, and then pop them into these chambers, seal them up. It's incredible, really, when you think about it, what such a tiny little creature is doing.
And there is a social structure in that hive as well. That's what's quite remarkable, in that everyone has their role, and some roles are more important than others. All are equally important because the hive survives on that, but some are discardable, some aren't. You know, it's really quite remarkable how it runs.
Absolutely, so wasps are similar in that kind of way. They have the various different roles, and the numbers of bees or wasps can reach into their thousands. So how they're able to stay organized and stay all effectively loyal to the one queen is quite incredible. And once that queen then later on in the summer stops producing eggs, some of those eggs that she's produced will turn into the new queens, and ferocious battles begin then, because then a battle for dominance of those queens. So it's like a Game of Thrones episode or something like that, but it's happening under the ground or in the little hives or deep inside a big old tree, and we don't see it at all. But eventually one of those queens will emerge as victorious. It will mate. The male's role is purely just to mate, and that's it. They don't do anything else. They don't do any of the heavy lifting. And then the worker bees, their role will be redundant later on in the year as the queen goes off to hibernate.
Yeah, it's astonishing stuff. And honey, if unspoiled, in other words, without any sort of external influence, it will never go out of date.
It lasts for a phenomenal amount of time. Yeah. Phenomenal amount of time.
But they've discovered, and maybe I've misread this, but they've discovered from sort of Egyptian times honey that was edible because it had been kept in such a way that it wasn't I can't think of the word, but it hadn't been in any way influenced by
contaminated by
contaminated.
anything
Exactly, contaminated is the word.
If they're stored or sealed in the correct way, they last a phenomenal amount of time. And of course, honey is very good for you. It's a natural product. It's often used for storing other things. Foods will be stored in the honey. And then, of course, depending on the type of flowers that the honey has been going for, some people will argue of different properties that it'll have depending on the pollen that's come from the different flowers.
Yeah, fern or this or that or the other. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's only the honeybee. And the important thing, I think, when we're talking bees is to remember the other species are equally important in a different way.
Yeah.
Because if we didn't have honey, we'd possibly be able to survive. But if we didn't have bees in general, we wouldn't. Because a third of the food that each and every one of us has eaten up till now, a third of the food is only there because of bees. And you think of strawberries, the strawberries in the markets now, lovely Irish strawberries. Each strawberry flower needs to be visited at least 4 times by a bee or some kind of pollinating insect before it's able to turn into a strawberry. And we can't do that. We don't have the machines to do that, the manpower to do it. It's just not possible for us to do it without the bees.
Talking about bees, I was trimming the grass last week up the top of the garden and I uncovered a bee's nest in the ground. I left it alone after that, but can I do anything to help them out, or just do I leave it be, pun intended?
leave it be. Let them to buzz about. If you've exposed the nest and you're able to see inside it, cover it up with some sticks, cover it up with some vegetation. And then a lovely thing that you can do is buy yourself, say, a pot of lavender, or go into any of our super garden centres around the county and ask them for some pollinator-friendly plants. Some pollinator-friendly plants at the moment. And in fact, that's one of the best things that any of us can do for bees, and not just for bees, for insects in general, because our insects, including the bees, are in trouble. They're slipping away. And if we can just provide more food, a lot of it is starvation, because a lot of us are tidying up our gardens, tidying up our area. So if you can provide some, be it potted plants or some other plants in your garden, to be able to give them cover as much of the year as possible, that
brilliant,
be the best.
Fascinating stuff. We'll watch on with interest. Do you believe that we will find ourselves having to come to terms with with an Asian hornet population in this country? Really, if the truth be told, we don't. I mean, they could be well embedded in parts for all we know at this point.
Yeah, it really is 50-50. I got to say, and I just don't know. The fact that we're an island off an island is really helpful. The fact that our climate is that little bit cooler is really helpful, and also hugely the fact that awareness is now up. I think years ago there wouldn't have been as much of a fuss about it, and certainly people wouldn't have been looking out for these things, and people wouldn't have been aware of the role of wasps and bees and the rest of it. So we just got to keep monitoring. And if you do see it, if you do come across something that you think might be it, don't go near them, don't go whacking them, because there's a lot of other characters that look like them but do an important job. But go onto the website biodiversityireland.ie and they'll be able to help you out.
Thanks, Angus. Great to chat to you again. Take care. Angus Kennedy, Nature Guide with Nature Northwest. Right, we're going to buzz off for an ad break.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
Finding the right accommodation could be the most expensive decision you'll make at college. But as a renter, the PSRA is here to protect you and help if anything goes wrong with your licensed letting agent. So you can make sure that your most expensive college decision doesn't cost you more than it should. To learn more about your PSRA consumer protections, visit psr.ie. A message from the Property Services Regulatory Authority.
Get our best ever bundle now in the Virgin Media Playhouse. Watch your favorite TV shows, live sports, catch-up TV, and access all the apps you love to binge. Powered by our super-fast, reliable broadband. Bundled together for just €45 a month, price locked for 12 months. Guaranteed. For more great offers, see virginmedia.ie. Virgin Media. It's playtime.
Subject to location and availability. New customers only. 12-month contract. €90 after offer price. Separate subscription required for streaming apps. T's and C's apply. See virginmedia.ie.
Joe Gallagher Entertainment presents the Ultimate 70s Night, Sunday, October 26th. Get ready for Shawaddy Waddy and the Bay City Rollers live at the Mount Erigal Hotel, Letterkenny. Sing and dance the night away to all the hits. Tickets on sale at ticketmaster.ie and hotel reception. Don't miss this unforgettable night, October 26th at the Mount Erigal Hotel, Letterkenny.
Are you female, currently unemployed and looking for a new career in construction? Rural Enterprise SkillNet is delighted to announce the next Women in Construction programme commencing September 22nd in Letterkenny. For more information or to apply, visit ruralenterpriseskillnet.ie. Closing date for applications is September 4th with interviews on September 5th. This Rural Enterprise SkillNet programme is co-funded by the Government of Ireland and the European Union.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhinney's. Get back to school sorted with all the essentials from school jumpers to shoes. Visit our kidswear department in store or shop online at mcelhenneys.com today.
Don't tell me your phone's not listening to you, because during the ad break there, as I was seeing if there was any messages or what have you, scrolling through Facebook, every fourth ad for delicious Irish strawberries. Now, I've not searched strawberries. I've not seen that ad before because I would know if it was there or not. Angus Kennedy mentioned delicious Irish strawberries that are there now, and all of a sudden I'm starting to see Facebook ads about strawberries. That's not random, is it? That can't be random. And they do insist that your phone isn't listening to you. I hope I don't sound like a you know what, but anyway, that's just what happened. He mentioned strawberries. Now I'm getting Facebook ads about strawberries. Okay, so the weather. Longer spells of rain, heavy at times for today, with moving in behind the rain that was there already this morning, this into early afternoon. There's a potential for spot flooding, isolated thunderstorms possible. We haven't had rain in a while, so the roads might be a little bit slippier. And also, too, you know, the drains might not be cleared, so you could have little gatherings of water on the roads, you know, when they catch the wheel and they pull you in. And just be conscious of that if you're out in the roads, as I will be. Temperatures today, 15 or 17 degrees, winds moderate to fresh. News at 11 coming up.
The Highland Radio Customer Service Awards with McElhinney's Department Store are back. We're honouring the businesses that put customers first, and we want to hear from you. Whether it's your favourite shop, restaurant or service provider, now's the time to give them the recognition they deserve. But hurry, nominations close Monday 8th of September. Don't miss out. The award night takes place on Sunday 5th of October. Nominate now at highlandradio.com.
Highland Bakery brings the magic to your morning tea break. Golden scones, still warm, soft in the middle and impossible to resist. Look for the packet with the rabbit on it. Fresh from the oven to your local shop. 25 years of Highland Bakery.
Ireland, this is your broadband wake-up call. Over 275,000 people are waking up to Vodafone Fibre broadband, now for just €25 a month. So stop snoozing on award-winning broadband. Switching is easy at Vodafone.ie.
Subject to eligibility, signing up to our €40 per month broadband package, €15 discount applied for first 6 months, an annual price increase of $3.50 each April. 24-month contract applies. For terms, see Vodafone.ie.
Join me, Marty Friel, every Friday night from 8 for Rockin' Hits on Highland Radio. In association with Arena 7, why not try their banquet and bowl night out? Dine in the Woodbury Grill and Restaurant, followed by drinks and bowling at their state-of-the-art lanes. See arena7.ie.
From home and car to farm, commercial and public liability, at Hickey Clark and Langan, they've got you covered for insurance. They shop around all the leading insurers to make sure you get a great deal. If you're looking for a competitive quote, it's easier than you think. Call 91-26688 or call into the office at Ballymacool, Letterkenny. Hickey Clark and Langan, the local name you can trust, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Sheep sales surged by €100 a head. In this week's Irish Farmers Journal, we examined what is driving the record rise in sheep prices. Warning of €500 million blow to milk checks if derogation is lost. Minister Healy-Rae opposed to rise in tractor driving age. Farmers push back against policy change to Fair Deal scheme. Minister Hayden declares long-awaited TB rules imminent. Plus, don't miss our essential guide for going to college. Only inside this week's Irish Farmers Journal, on sale now.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from €40,000 to €600,000 with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127. The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio.
It is 11 o'clock and it's over now for a news update to Donna Marie Doherty.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. School secretaries and caretakers are striking across the country this morning. They're calling for access to the public sector pension scheme. Over 2,000 schools are impacted, and Forza Trade Union says picketing will continue until an agreement is made. A number of secretaries and caretakers from Donegal are en route to Dublin for a protest outside the Department of Education. A number of non-compliances have been detected in HICWA inspections at 2 community hospitals in Donegal. 4 non-compliances were noted in a report on Dunlow Community Hospital and 3 at St Joseph's Hospital in Stranorlar. In both cases, management have outlined how the issues are being dealt with. HSC West and Northwest have confirmed that a locum consultant neurologist is scheduled to commence work at Letterkenny University Hospital on Monday the 8th of September. They say this appointment will significantly enhance the neurology service in the hospital and work towards alleviating waiting times for patients and improving access to specialist neurology care. A number of people who sat their driving test in Buncrana in the past week did not have access to the toilet facilities at the centre. Local councillor Fionnan Bradley says he received numerous calls in relation to the matter. Following correspondence he made to the RSA, Councillor Bradley was told the decision was made by facilities management in the Department of Social Protection due to consistent misuse. Councillor Bradley says while the exact nature of the misuse is yet to be determined, it's likely it means the general public were using facilities rather than those who had an appointment. And finally, 3 children are among 14 who've been killed by Russian strikes on Ukrainian capital Kyiv overnight. Vladimir Zelensky says it shows President Vladimir Putin is choosing ballistics instead of the negotiating table. Ukraine's Air Force says nearly 600 drones and 31 missiles were launched in what's been described as one of the largest attacks in recent weeks. That's all for now from the newsroom. Back with more at 12 noon.
Thanks so much, Donna Marie. And we'll be back after a really short break. Coming up in this hour, we're going to be in the garden, that and so much more besides. Stay where you are.
Going back to school means getting back to easy breakfasts with Mace. Pop into your local Mace store and pick up a 24-pack of Weetabix for just €2.50. That's 24 Weetabix for just €2.50. Give your mornings a little get up and go with another great offer from Mace. Mace, going the extra smile. Offer available 27th to 31st of August while stocks last in participating stores.
Another example of inequality, the centuries-old master and servant mentality. Manual labourers are frowned upon as unskilled, experienced, and common sense is something that cannot be taught from a textbook. How long would the world survive without these valuable people? Well, I can tell you it's certainly not on this show that anyone doing those very highly skilled jobs would be referred to as unskilled. It's actually a phraseology. Even when talking up certain jobs, I don't use that terminology. Karen, who was on your show in the last hour, did a hair piece for me last year. I am a cancer patient and losing my hair was worse than the treatment. And Karen is a miracle worker. She's amazing and it's great that this is here on our doorstep. The work she's doing is amazing for women. She really built up my confidence and I'm a different person now coming in from Burnley. Greg, I'm a chef and the price of food has gone up 20% this year, but some places are taking real advantage. That soup can be made for about 50 cents and a toastie, a loaf in super value is 105. Chicken isn't that dear either. Another, it's like people throwing rubbish out of cars. People don't dirty their own homes, but streets, forestry, all public places, because people don't consider these places as belonging to them. It's a hangover from being dispossessed over hundreds of years ago. The land was taken over, so people destroyed it as an act of contempt, and they all still are treating the land as not their own. Interesting take. Yes, Greg, people have no respect for public toilets, and I'm sure it's not always the males. I had to use the toilets at the show front in Buncrana last week. First time using them since they were updated and refurbished thanks to the Friel family. One was blocked and overflowing. The second was disgusting, but thank God the third one was fine. Not good enough, thank you. If I go into a toilet, I use the toilet and then I flush the chain and have a look behind me. See, and I'm no angel, by the way, just in case anyone thinks I'm trying to profess that I am. But it's basic. You know, that's what separates us from animals, you would hope, that you do your business, a 1 or a 2 or whatever it is. You flush the toilet and you try and leave it as you found it. But there are some people that seem to go into toilets and they lose the run of themselves. Most of those public toilets are messy because the majority of people using them are drunk. I still managed to get it close to where it's supposed to go. Why include the cost of alcohol into the cost of living? It's just part of living for some people, whether you like it or not. Paul McLaughlin is the gardener at Ballochder Garden Centre. He's with us now. Good morning, Paul.
Good morning.
How are you getting on?
Not so bad at all.
Summer's over.
Seems to be.
Is it over? It's over. Forget about it.
Yeah, hopefully
Summer's
not over exactly, but there's definitely a wee change in the weather. All right.
You can see how it just edged in as we edged towards September, and also as the schools went back. But we had a good run of weather, I think, for people on their holidays, didn't we?
Yes, pretty much the month of August was particularly good. So it wasn't. There was very little rain, so there is a wee bit of rain now. Be quite welcome because the'll be still some growth there because the soil's still quite warm, you know.
Obviously, people are gathering water. This rain is going to obviously be beneficial, right? But I mean, given the lack of moisture over a long period of time, even if we get a couple of days of heavy rain, it's helpful, but it's not necessarily what the ground needs, or is it?
No, exactly. Even funny on the roads at the minute, you can see the water running off quite quickly, if you know what I mean, because the ground's quite hard. So you need a sort of sustained amount of sort of soft rain, maybe, to actually be absorbed a bit, if you know what I mean.
Despite my best efforts, the lovely summer flowers that I got down the road have got to the point now where there were still some flowers, but they were thinning out, and I pulled them out waiting for the next thing.
Right. Yes.
That, as I say, I think I didn't put enough soil in the pot. I think I put too much gravel in there. But anyway, that's my own problem. Is that across the board, or are some people holding on to those flowers and their pots are still looking good?
It's not across the board yet. Some flowers are still looking quite good. This period of dry weather has been sore on them, so it hasn't, especially around the 1st of August there was a lot of wind, which for people's hanging baskets, that really was quite detrimental because it was quite sudden. People maybe hadn't a chance to protect them, if you know what I mean. But no, some are still going on flying and theoretically should go on up to the end of October nearly.
Really? I really did mess that up then, didn't I?
No, because I'm a wee bit guilty myself, to be honest. My own around the door have been a wee bit neglected too. So, but it's just sort of, I don't know, maybe it's a change of routine. People sort of, like you say, summer. Some people see summer's been over now. The kids are back and stuff. So
and rain, even when it does rain, it doesn't always hit where it should hit. So people should continue to nurture as best they can their summer planting. We're too early really for transitioning, are we, into winter bedding?
But you sort of can work it in a certain way. If you have, like, say 75% of your pots looking perfect and there's one like gap in it, if you know what I mean, which is ruining the whole display, don't be afraid to actually pull out that plant and put in one, if you know what I mean. You always get something to fill out the gap just to keep the rest going on for longer.
What is the soil like at the moment for growing? I mean, it is the soil temperatures are still high, I presume.
Yes.
The temperatures are still in the sort of mid to late teens. We're getting a bit of moisture now. Is it still good growing weather?
It would be good growing weather. This rain will help. So the growing had sort of stopped there for a while because the ground was very dry. Actually, you could see the likes of the willows along the hedges and that have started to turn brown, and that's just from lack of water, basically. Autumn's kind of coming early to them. But no, we bit of rain now, and the growth should continue for another month.
Brilliant stuff. Right, fruit and veg gardens. Let's talk about them. Where are we at in their cycle?
Yes, fruit and veg gardens. You would be in the point of harvesting at this stage, or very close to it. Funny, last week we were working down in Ard's Friary there, and they have a big walled garden full of mature fruit trees there, and they're all sort of different stages depending on the varieties. But like plums are ready pretty much. The hedges are absolutely covered in blackberries there at the minute. It's been a very good growing year. And most apples, some apples are actually ready now. And some
How do you know though? Because there comes a point too whereby, you know, you start finding stuff in them potentially or what have you. Yes. So how do you know when your fruit's ready?
A couple of wee tricks for knowing how it's ready. Generally, if you're thinking of picking them, if you twist the apple
rotate it,
90 degrees and it snaps off, it should be ready. But that may or may not work depending on the tree.
But if you get a few of them that are like that, do you harvest the whole lot? You don't go one at a time?
No, pretty much. Generally, a fruit tree like the apples there, where the outside ones where they hit the sun are going to be riper than the ones on the inside of the tree where they've been sort of covered by leaves. So harvesting can be done over the course of a couple of weeks.
When we were kids, you would rotate the apple on the stalk. Do you know you got from the shop? Every rotation was an A.
Yes.
So you kept rotating that till it broke off, and say it landed on G. That was the first letter of the person that loved you, right?
Yes.
And then you would turn it around and tap the apple again, ABC, and when it broke through the skin, that was the second letter of something or other. I can't
yes,
remember.
but I remember the first part of that. I never the tapping.
Yeah. Now you tap it and that'll give you the second.
There's another old one as well where you actually peel the apple and try and get the skin off in one continuous bit.
Okay.
Throw it over your shoulder, and if it forms a letter, that's the person you love or whatever.
I'm too lazy for that one. All right, okay.
But no, another thing about the apples, a more foolproof way is if you actually take an apple off a tree and cut it in half and know the seeds inside, if they're white or green, they're actually
still alive.
Still immature. Whereas if it's brown,
a pear's more difficult to judge when they're.
Pears, around here, pears tend to be very hard to get to ripen.
Yeah.
We just don't have the sunshine. So a lot of people take them off the tree.
And what happens when you take them off? Do they ever soften?
The will soften over time, and what people can do is actually, if you put them into a brown paper bag with a banana, it'll actually ripen them, or a few bananas.
It's releasing. People will stick a banana in their fruit bowl and wonder why everything doesn't last as long.
Exactly.
I can't remember what the chemical it releases is.
It's methanol or something. It's
Yeah,
called. Yeah.
so it will speed up the. All right.
We just don't have the sunshine around here for ripening the pears.
So the hedgerows are full of blackberries. They're safe. What should we be doing with them? Picking them, making the jams?
Picking them, just eat away, make jam out of them. Even though some people would make wine out of them and stuff, So they would.
Have you ever made wine out of them?
Not out of blackberries, no.
Okay,
But it's on the to-do list. So it is. They're generally good up to the end of September. Traditionally, after St. Michael's Day, it was recommended not to pick them.
Yeah, okay, but you can tell with your eye.
Yeah,
if they
absolutely,
look nice and shiny and juicy.
Yeah, and if they're kind of dusky, they're probably past their best.
Okay. I had a comment about spuds here. I've got these here. I'm going to talk about them separately in a moment. About spuds. Let me see if this is... I have new potatoes, and once they go cold, they go black. I have to dump them as you can't eat them the next day. Is there too much fertilizer put in the soil, or what? New spuds weren't like this years ago. I've stopped buying new spuds because of this. Now, it's not a person growing them their own, but have you observed anything like that?
I have seen it, and I'm sorry, I can't actually be of any benefit.
It's
I'm
more
not
of
sure
a
what
process, I think, rather than...
Quite possibly, but no, I have seen it happen, all right. But I'm not sure what's behind it.
Right, but I have a bag of tomatoes here that you've brought in, and do you know what I genuinely... You've grown them yourself, right?
Yes.
I can't wait to cut one of them in half, slice it, and have it on a cheese or with ham, just actually get a sense, because I had tomatoes not so long ago out of a shop. So tomatoes, harvesting, spuds, as we mentioned, onions, carrots.
Yes, onions, carrots should all be flying at this stage. If generally people sort of, if they're growing onions, use them as they go along. But now into the sort of end of August, start of September, it's when you can harvest your whole crop. And they'll actually keep from now on generally.
So say I've had a situation where I've had a bag of onions and one slipped out of the bag and it's been sitting in the cupboard for quite some time. And then I come across it. This sounds terrible, right? But anyway. And it's got like a 4 or 5 inch stem coming from it. What's happening?
Generally, he's just trying to grow again. So he is. That's like the wee onions, like the onion sets you buy to set into the ground, are just basically immature onions. They're just small onions, and then those.
So what would I do with that? Put it in a pot, cut the top off it.
Theoretically, put it in a pot. You can actually see it like in TikTok that people hacks where like no one to be use the onion. You cut the top off it and actually set it into the compost, and it will grow again.
That's okay.
So just you get the most out of your bag of onions.
But with that in mind, it's a cycle, isn't it? Whilst tomatoes, potatoes, onions, your carrots are all going well now. The more committed gardener is starting to think about what's going on ahead. So is now a time you're planting for the winter, spring?
Yeah, pretty much. For the likes of your onions, scallions, that sort of thing, a wee bit early. You probably towards the end of the month, maybe into October. But like the cabbages, even most of the cabbage family, lettuce, that sort of stuff you could plant in now. Some of the winter lettuce, isn't it?
Other things that are blooming at the moment, rowan trees, what's going there?
Yes.
And other varieties?
Just noticed driving about the last few while, the rowan trees this year and hawthorns are absolutely covered in berries. If you look at one of the trees, it's more red than green almost. And people traditionally always said, that was a sign of a hard winter to come.
Yeah,
but I don't know if I fully believe it or not.
Well, it's like a broken clock. You're going to be right some of the time.
Pretty much. They always reckon that was nature stocking the larder for birds and stuff for over a hard winter.
Whilst it might be too early to plant certain things, can we be harvesting seeds, storing them for when the time's right? What kind of stuff?
Yes, a lot of your perennial plants, that sort of stuff, will have seeds coming on nicely. So
perennial means they come around every year.
Yeah, pretty much. They come on every year. They die back for the winter, and then they come back next year. But a lot of them would produce seeds earlier on. The lupins, even poppies at the minute, would be doing it. And the annuals, they're nasturtiums at the minute, are casting seeds. So perfect time to collect them, dry them off a bit, and store them for next year. Just
All right, let's go on to the lawns. I think lawns, generally speaking, because of the weather, are still looking great.
Yes.
But obviously, do you just enjoy that for now? We'll talk about it again, or is there anything we need to be doing?
Pretty much, if your lawn is looking good, just sort of keep her cut and don't be worrying too much about cutting it too low at this stage of the year, if you know what I mean. But just keep her tidy, and you'll probably be cutting right.
Is it too early for an autumn feed?
You could feed from now on, and now would be actually a good time to have the ground sort of semi-dry where you could actually treat for moss as well.
All right, very good. Okay. I'm delighted to see some of our roads widening. That's the way I see it. I don't see it as hedges getting cut.
Yes.
As the road getting wider. That's happening, and it can happen. It depends on safety issues, lines of sight and stuff. But the official hedge cutting season opens at the start of next month. Is that right?
1st of September.
Yeah.
Cut
Okay.
away,
So as I say, some of it's happening purely because the roads are dangerous. And
yes, and around junctions and stuff.
100%. But even where roads narrow.
Yes,
in
absolutely.
certain parts of our county.
Yeah.
So it's justified, I think. Let's get to some questions. And by the way, if you're quick, it's not too late to get a question in for Paul. I have 3 hydrangeas with big green leaves. However, I have no flowers. How do I? What can I do to get flowers?
Probably for this year, I would say the flowers probably have missed the boat to an extent. They should nearly be showing flowers at this stage. What possibly happened there, if they're good healthy plants, obviously the first thing you'd always say is give them a good feed. But if they're good healthy plants, what I would do would be maybe question, did you prune them too late last year maybe and took the flower heads off them? But generally, if you feed them in the spring with something like potash, you should get good flowers for next year.
How long will the geraniums last in my summer pots? Coming in from Mary. Thanks,
geranium
Mary.
summer pots outside the geranium should last up to the first frost, which is around sort of start of November, around that. But the geranium's actually a plant that will survive year round if you actually take them out of the pots and bring them inside from about the 1st of November.
What's the best way to store window boxes and hanging baskets over the window? Do I need to cut the plants back, etc.? This is interesting, actually.
Yes.
I like this question.
Yes. Store them, obviously if it's annuals in them, sort of clear them out.
You
at
see,
this stage,
that-
or
so-
when they're finished.
The annuals means they're one and done, right?
1 year, yeah.
And that's it. So when they die off, they're just going to rot in your box.
Yeah, pretty much.
They won't come back next year.
No, most annuals
Right,
will
okay.
not come back. Some of them can drop seeds if the seeds come back, but it's very
If you're lucky,
sporadic.
yeah,
if you know
yeah,
what I mean.
okay.
So no, generally someone like that there, whenever they're finished, we clear them out, just put them in the garage or behind the garage.
So when this caller's asking about cutting them back, if they are, what can't you remember the word you used? There's no point cutting them back.
Yes, and if they're annuals, there's not
Annuals.
much point in cutting them back. You can tidy them up to give you a wee bit longer out of them, if you know what I mean. You
But
buy
I
another
think they're
month.
maybe looking to put them in, when the time comes to put them in the shed or wherever they're
Yes,
putting them.
aye.
Yeah,
Aye.
all right. So if
So
they're
gen-
annuals.
generally, if they're annuals, just clear out the box and you can store the box in.
Okay. Hi, when's the best time for planting slips of Griselinia?
Yep.
August, September, or later for the garden spot.
Generally, end August, start of September is perfect. Pretty much round now, very perfect time. So it would be. Generally, Griselinia hedging plants quite easy to grow. Key there would be try loads. Like they're not costing anything if you're just cutting the hedge. So take like if you need 50, take 150.
This is actually a question that's along the same lines of the previous ones in terms of your hanging baskets, your window boxes, or your pots outside your front door or wherever. If you take the plants out, what do you do with the soil in them?
Yes, soil and it depends on the size of your pot, largely. If it's quite a small pot, I would tend to dump the soil. Put it in your
Even
compost heap
rather than even retain some of it and mix it with new soil, or
you can do if you're putting it into the same pot again, same smallish pot. You want there to be plenty of nutrition in it.
well, you see black, rich, wet soil,
Yeah.
and then you see sort of brown, faded, dry. I think that's, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's almost as if all the good has been drawn from it.
Yes, a lot of the time
It's a product, right?
Right, as a product, surely, and like because your bedding plants or whatever have been working very hard over the summer, they have taken a lot of nutrition
Yeah.
out of it.
Mhm.
So if it's a very big pot, I would tend to leave a third behind and dump 2/3 and
All right.
refresh 2/3.
Okay.
And if you are using old stuff, be careful. Just keep a wee out for slug eggs, something like that there, which
Okay.
you don't want to reintroduce to your new.
Well, how do I get rid of aphids, slugs, or other pests naturally?
Getting rid of pests naturally. I suppose Angus was on there a wee while ago. If you want to do it naturally, it's all about building up a good ecosystem. Sort of attract like beneficial predators to your garden. Like say aphids, they're ladybirds. They're natural
I think
predator.
sometimes people are looking for a natural quick fix that isn't a chemical.
Yes.
And I'm not sure such a thing exists.
Long term, probably not. If you know what I mean. For aphids, that you can use the likes of your garlic sprays. Something like that will actually prevent them sort of or make your plants unpalatable for them, if you know what I mean. But they'll be still knocking about the area. So someone like that there. But the fact of the matter is, just like I say, build up the ecosystem. Sort of introduce frogs. Maybe I'll deal with your slugs.
Right.
Introduce ladybirds if possible. We'll deal with aphids and that.
Mary Jo on Facebook. I have a rose bush and I can't seem to get it to settle and grow. I have it to the bare of a place. Do I have it in too bare of a place? Okay, so the rose won't settle and grow. She's asking, is it in too bare of a place?
Sounds like it, to be honest. If it's sort of rocking about, you get a thing called root rock in a plant, where if it's in a windy spot, it goes over and back and it creates a gap around the stem, if you know what I mean, which then allows disease and stuff down into the plant. So no, generally give it a good firming and people tend to be quite timid planting plants. Like whenever I started out, I was told the best thing you have is your boot heel. Actually, put in the plant very well and don't be afraid to tramp it in.
Pack it in,
basically.
pack it in, all right.
So that there, if you want to retain it in the position where it is, maybe if you put up some sort of windbreak, even for over the winter, that you could remove for the summer, then might be the
all right, good idea.
Might be the answer.
Co-planting, companion planting.
Yes.
What plants grow well together?
What plants grow well together? I suppose it depends what you're looking for. If you're looking for flowers or vegetables or something like that, generally it works well for companion planting. If you're nasturtiums, would be very good to go in around other stuff, or marigolds particularly. But in terms of food, a lot of the time, what food works well, see your tomatoes there, that generally what foods work well together on a plate actually work well together in the garden. So like tomatoes, rosemary, stuff like that. So just if you do a bit of investigating and sort of grow what you like. You know what I mean? You can always find a companion for it.
A caller asks, what do I do if my plants are wilting? Now, they don't sort of talk of what types of plants they are or where they are, so I'm not sure how easy that is for you to answer.
Wilting tends to be a lack of water. So it is. If they're in the ground, give the area a good soaking. And if it's like in a hanging basket or a window box, maybe if you get a big basin, and rather than water it over the top, because the compost may have dried out and become hard, is actually to set it into a bucket or something for a while, just let it soak up water that way.
Right, roses seem to be a whole handling. Last year I didn't cut back my roses. They grew fantastically this year. Now I'm wondering, should I not cut them back this year?
I would advise to cut them back, to be quite honest, because roses produce flowers and fairly new growth. So if you cut it back, then the new growth this year, no flower on that. If you leave them, they'll always put on the new growth, but you'll have a big gap at the bottom.
Yeah.
So to be honest, probably science there would suggest give them a cut back.
Can you grow an apple tree from seed if you're patient?
Yes, but the problem there is most apple trees are actually grafted. So to successfully grow an apple tree from seed that's going to produce good apples would be unlikely.
I think if you could answer this one, you'd be a millionaire. How can I get rid of mare's tail permanently?
Get rid of mare's tail permanently. Prayer, possibly.
Yeah, that's about the height.
No, mare's tail is just disaster to be getting rid of. To be honest, it's been about since the time of the dinosaurs, and I can't see us getting rid of it.
It outlasted the dinosaurs.
Yeah, very much. If it's on a paved area or tarmac or something like that, the way to go would be generally salt.
Yeah,
like even if you get the road de-ice and stuff,
that'll do it.
That'll knock them back.
I only have time for one more. Can I cut back rhododendron and hydrangeas hard as a couple are completely overgrown now at this stage?
Yes, cut away.
All right, listen, thanks very much for that, Paul. I do appreciate it.
No bother.
Who's your guest today?
Let me guess, Abby Lee.
Lee.
Everybody else is back at school and Abby's not back until Monday.
Oh, there you go. Okay, enjoy the last couple of days of it then. Thanks very much, Paul. We'll chat to you soon. And thank you so much for all of your questions for Paul. He'll be back in a couple of weeks.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
The Donegal Hurling Finals will be played this Saturday at the O'Donnell Park in Letterkenny. In the senior decider, Setanta face off with St Eunan's. The full game will be live on Highland this Saturday evening from the 5 p.m. start in association with NAS Scaffolding, your trusted partner for all your scaffolding requirements, private, industrial and commercial, throughout the Northwest and nationwide.
It's the Right Price Tiles wood flooring and bathware 70% off sale. Get up to 70% off all your purchases. Up to 70% off all tiles, all wood flooring, all bathware. Everything's reduced in store. The 70% off sale at Right Price Tiles wood flooring and bathware. Stores nationwide. Sale ends Sunday.
Hi, Paddy here at Shane Conley Cars in Donegal Town. Are you looking to upgrade your car? With Shane Conley Cars, you'll find makes and models for every budget. Great finance options, and we also accept trade-ins. Check out ShaneConleyCars.com
or call on to us at Shane Conley Cars from Lonaher Road, Donegal Town.
Hi everybody, Michael English here. Join me for the Highland Radio Country Music Weekend at the Clanry Hotel Letterkenny this October 31st and November 1st. I'll be performing live over the weekend with my band along with my great friends Patrick Feeney and his band, David James and his band, Stacey Breen, Jordan McPolan and many more. Enjoy 2 nights B&B plus tickets to 2 brilliant nights of dancing and live country music. Book now at clanryhotel.com or highlandradio.com. I'll see you there.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is?
The time now is 11:25. Kevin Fury's like an Asian hornet. You'll never know where you'll find him. But he's with us here now. He's down in Letterkenny. Good morning to you. How are you getting on? So this is my fault. I don't know which one of these is the tie line. I might come back to you in a second, Kevin, because... can you speak there for a sec? No? 1, 2? Yeah, no. I'll come back to you in a sec because I think one of these functions has been switched over. Oh, hey, try that now.
1, 2.
Yeah,
One,
I have
two.
you now. No, sorry. It was on function B and not function A. Kevin, good morning to you. Where are you? What are you doing?
Good morning, Greg. Well, yes, we are live here at the Bus Éireann Depot here in Letterkenny. We're here for their Customer Appreciation Day. Just got underway at 11 o'clock, so it did this morning, and it's on now until 2 o'clock. And basically, it's about saying Agora Maigat. Thank you, of course, to everyone for using Bus Éireann and for the great service that they do provide. Right across Donegal, right across the northwest, right across the country as well, too. So lots happening here today. There's some great spot prizes in there. There's 2 €50 Shop LK vouchers as well to be won. There's lots of merch, keyrings, pens, pencils, all to be given away here today. So if you're in the Letterkenny area, maybe you're over in the shopping centre doing a little bit of shopping, you can pop over and instead you've been with a chance of winning some great prizes here today. So we're live through until 2.
Yeah, and there's lots going on there. So what can people look forward to? As you mentioned, we're there, so that's great crack. Spot prizes, merch, as you've been talking of. Is there an ice cream van on site this year?
There is an ice cream. If you just look there now, you can see the ice cream truck is here. Temperatures may have dropped the last day or two, but that doesn't matter.
But that's good. It just means your cone lasts longer.
That's it, exactly. You're not against the clock to eat it. So yes, the ice cream truck is here. There's lots of other wee bits and pieces as well happening throughout the day. So it's spot prices and bits and pieces. So it's going to be a great couple of hours. So as I said, if you're in the Letterkenny area, or maybe you're tuned into the show and you're on your way into Letterkenny, pop in and say hello to us.
Yeah, so whether we're on air or not, we've been there since 11 and we'll be there throughout the course of the afternoon as well. And Kevin, as you mentioned too, Bus Éireann provides a very important service along with other private bus and coach services, though, that are there getting us from A to B and what have you. And this is them effectively saying, listen, thanks for putting your trust in us. This is about celebrating you, the customer, not necessarily us, the business.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, you just missed the Derry bus just left here. I think there actually was 2 buses going to Derry. There was a Galway bus here earlier on. And as well, people heading away, maybe, I know we're coming to the end of summer, but heading away, say, to the airport or something like that, you can basically park your car if you live wherever in the Letterkenny area, get the bus up to Dublin Airport, which is a fantastic service. It means you don't have to worry about parking. Jump in the car and you can basically sit back, relax, enjoy the journey up to Dublin, as they say, and other local places as well too. I was just having a wee look at the bus listings in there. Like, they go to different places like Strabane, St Johnston, and even places too like Glencolmkill, south of the county, which I've been more familiar with myself, going to Glencolmkill a couple of times a day. So it really is, I don't think people realise until maybe they actually use the service, and I would have used it and was very grateful back in the college days in and out to Derry. But they do have some great services, and as I said today, it's just simply about saying thank you.
Yeah, of course, and the staff as well too. Of course, I know today's about the customers, but the staff on the ground and the overwhelming majority of bus drivers too, they're accommodating and helpful as well. So a big thanks to them. So in terms of what you're doing there and sort of what we can look forward to on air, Kevin, remind us of that.
Yeah, so basically we're just here today. We're just here speaking to people. As I said, there's a load of people. It's amazing the way, it's quite quiet here now, but in half an hour this place could be packed. That's basically the way it goes. So we're just in here chatting to people and just finding where they're going to and stuff like that there. And as I said, we've got some great music as well too, keeping the atmosphere going. Joe's here. Joe's on the deck, so he is, and he's got the music going. So I said it's going to be a great day. So listen, if you're in the area, pop over and say hello to us, because you never know, you could be with a chance of winning not one but two €50 Shop LK vouchers.
And will you be linking in with further programming?
Yes, we'll be linking in with John a little bit later on Around the Northwest, not once but actually twice today. So lots happening here today, and as I said, we'll be telling you more about what else is taking place from A to B throughout the day here on
All right, listen, thanks very much for that. So our team are down there right now at the bus station in Letterkenny. Call in and say hello, as Kevin mentioned there. Maybe you're in the shopping centre or what have you. We've got some goodies down there, free merch, spot prizes, pens, there's ice cream. It's all as a thank you from Bus Éireann as they host their Customer Appreciation Day. So good luck with that. Right now, the petrol situation. Go petrol stations say they're aware of instances over the weekend which happened in particular with AIB cards. This is an issue with AIB and not the station. This is, again, sort of talking to a situation whereby someone has put the card in, pumped €30 of petrol or diesel, and ended up with a €125 hold on their card. We've had people being embarrassed when they went into shops to buy their goods and there was no money in the card, or in fact, maybe direct debits have bounced. Go say it's not theirs. It's an interesting one because I've only ever seemingly had this issue at the one location, but maybe that's just where people are more vocal. I don't know. But anyway, apparently it's AIB's fault. But we're getting on to AIB, and I'll be very interested to hear what AIB have to say about it in terms of their level of culpability in that.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today.
Má tá tú idir chuig ní agus 7 bliain díos, joid tú cuireadh scág hástáil potoige báilíon HSE siar an aisce íonna. Cabhraíonn an scág hástáil le cóirí luadáilte potoige aimsiú, solamíonn aon symptom le feiceáil agus bíonn sin níos fosa í a chóiráil chomhar.
New this week in Home Store and More. All mattress toppers are all 33% off. But better hurry, because when all our 33% off mattress toppers are gone, they're gone. Also, all painting and DIY accessories and all home office desks and chairs are still all half price. But when all the half price painting and DIY accessories and all the half price home office desks and chairs are gone, they're definitely gone. Drop by your local Home Store and More. Visit us online at homestoreandmore.ie. Home Store and More. A happy home.
The Easy Living Furniture mid-season sale ends this Sunday. Enjoy massive savings in store and online with hundreds of special offers across all of our departments, including sofas, dining, bedroom, mattresses, home accessories and more. Your dream home starts here. Quality furniture at prices made for you. The mid-season sale ends this Sunday at Easy Living Furniture, Crescent Link Retail Park, Derry, Londonderry.
And we're back. That dreaded walk from the car park, the sigh of relief setting up camp, and the vibes making it all worth it. Discover Centra's festival favourites, like selected O'Donnell sharing bags $2.50 each, Centra wipes 64-piece 95 cent each, and Rockshore 8-can pack €14 plus deposit. Centra. Live every day. Enjoy alcohol sensibly.
Náidé mail nuair a oinn tú de chuireadh chun scág hástáil potoige íonna. Glíorainn ar a 8 a náid a 45 a 45 a 55. No túr cuairt ar bowelscreen.ie. Own HSE.
Now, we're joined on the programme by Councillor Micheál Colm McGallen-Aspa. Good morning to you, Micheál Colm. Thanks very much for your time, Madgene White. You are also wearing the hat today of chair of the Irish Language Committee of Donegal County Council, and it's off the back of contact by a number of people regarding the controversy surrounding the Ladies Football Association, that's the LGFA, who it's claimed are refusing to hold disciplinary hearings in Irish for a Gaeltacht club. So what is the background beyond that to this story?
Well, I suppose there'll be a few people saying to themselves, "Jesus, Michal has no interest in sport," and I don't have any interest in sport. But what I do have a massive interest in is our language. And I suppose after being contacted by a good number of people, like it says yesterday, because it is my local club, I suppose, to be honest with you, my brother is the chairperson of the club. My father is one of the founding members of the club, and also my brother John is the chair of Pel na Gaeltachta for Donegal. But whatever happened to me, I just had no interest in sport. But that said, after being contacted by a good number of people, I did get in contact with the LGFA and had good constructive conversations with them, where I looked to try to bring about a solution that would suit. And I suppose, if I was to be honest with you, there's one person in particular that I would know very, very well and have had huge respect for, to be very honest with you. But we talked at length. I've been in contact with them in Ballyclea today again. And unfortunately, to date, we haven't found a solution. But from my position on it as an Irish language activist and the chairperson of the Irish Language Committee within the county of Corleone, I don't believe it's good enough that, whatever the reason is, because I'm not involved in why there's a disciplinary case has been taken, that's not my interest whatsoever. But I do think that it's not good enough for a national sporting organisation not to recognise our language and the fact that where there's reps been done, that whoever's up, I don't know the terminology for this, but whoever is up on a disciplinary inquiry, that they're not able to conduct themselves in their first language.
Why aren't they able to do that, though? Is this coming from Donegal LGFA? Is this coming from, Dublin HQ? Why is it that there's no one available? Is there no one available to conduct the inquiry in Irish, or is it policy? What's the reasons?
Well, that's what I'm trying to get to the bottom of, and one of my proposals is that, look, as you know, Greg, we spoke about this at length, especially a good number of years ago when I was lucky enough to get elected. I've conducted myself solely through the medium of Gaelic, and we have translation services. We have a fantastic team within Corleone, and one of the things that I was hoping to offer would be, if allowed, to provide that service, the translation service, and if there was a cost to that I would be more than happy to look for to find the cost.
Yeah, but if we were to go down that route, presumably those who wish to be heard in Irish are fluent in Irish. If we're going down that route, that means that the LGFA don't have any person or persons who can conduct the inquiry or the hearing in Irish, which is would be a problem. It, like. It would be a problem, surely.
Yeah, but I think, look, and because this has taken place now, like this week, I think the translation service was a really good option. We have very, very capable and trained staff, if that was possible, and I would have worked towards that. And I think, just look, with I suppose with the massive focus in relation to our language and the neglect of the Gaeltacht over many generations, but the revival most definitely within the language, and especially our young people who are playing football, the women and the men who are passionate about their language, who local clubs from Clohanlia to Gidor, Quahanila, Nimura, Gaeltacht Lair, Naras, all the clubs who are doing so much fantastic work in terms of putting the language central to the football. And now we have the LGFA not allowing Gaelic speakers who feel more comfortable to conduct themselves through the medium of Gaelic, because it is the first language, it is the language of our country. And when you look at the Brits and how Liam from Kneecap has been allowed to conduct his defence through Gaelic in English courts, but yet our own national sporting body in this incident isn't given that opportunity to Gaelic speakers from the Gaeltacht, irrelevant even if they were from Letchacannel or Nadunif or anywhere in the 32 counties. I think it's really unfair.
You said you've had contact with the association, and just in case it's not clear, what have they said to you as to why these hearings can't happen in Irish or Gaeilge. What has the association said to you the reason is?
Well, I suppose I've talked to quite a good number of people over this last day or two in relation to this here, and then it looks like that there's not a clear policy. And I suppose one of the things that I was challenging is that they're saying, oh, there's no policy written to say that we can do this through Gaelic. And I'm saying, well, does it state that it has to be through basically a foreign language, which is English, which I don't think it would actually say that. So on that basis, it doesn't.
But they're saying
should it?
Sorry, Micheál. They're saying there's no reason. There's nothing to suggest it can or should be done in Irish, but that's not a reason as to not doing it Irish. So what reason are they actually giving for not conducting this hearing in Irish? Is it resources, or like you said? I think you said in a post that you've said you've had numerous contacts with the association and discussions. What reason are they giving for not doing it in Irish?
Well, the difficulty so far is that I haven't been able to sit down with the right person and get exactly. So the number of people and the good number of people that I have been speaking to, and in fairness, I have to recognise the fact that these people are volunteers, or most of them have been volunteers, giving up their free time and investing quite a lot of time and energy into what they do. And I need to say that. But also is that we're talking about the national language, and if it's a case that they don't have an Irish language policy, that itself is questionable, considering that Commonwealth Gael would have a clear policy in relation to language. Now, did they implement it, or are they doing enough? That's another day's conversation. But as we speak right now, in relation to the LGFA, is that they are clearly stating that they won't be allowing Gaelic speakers that happens to be from the Gaeltacht to conduct their defence, which that's my understanding, through the medium of Gaelic, through a language that they're far more comfortable to articulate themselves, because Gaelic speakers, especially within the Gaeltacht or in other areas, but especially in the Gaeltacht, look, your think process is very different from an imperialist language think process. It's a very, very way different of thinking, and I think it's really. I think it's quite discriminating against Gaelic speakers and the Gaeltacht by not allowing us to conduct ourselves through the Gaelic.
I would turn up at the hearing and I wouldn't respond to English, and I'd only communicate to Gaeilge and take it from there, because...
Well, I would fully support what you're saying, and certainly this isn't about me, and far from it. But I remember when I went to the council at the beginning, and Greg and me and you had quite a lot of conversation around this, and I have to say Highland were extremely supportive of my position on it, even though that at the time, you know, I was being hammered, I was being mocked, I was being ignored, told to be ignored, and it's about that consistency. But look, I would have no difficulty for anybody to do that, and I think it's a very principled stand. And like I says, Liam from NECAP are going into an English court and being able to defend themselves in our language against the language of the occupier, but yet here we have as our football. In terms of our heritage, our culture, our identity, and that association, which does fantastic work, and it's really, really hard work, I don't doubt, to take women's football to where it is today from where it came from, and that I have to be open and say fully support, and couldn't acknowledge them enough and praise them enough. But in relation to the specific question, which is our language, that we are battling to preserve, we know the figures are dramatically fallen in relation to the Gaelic speakers, and Gaeltacht and our daily speakers, due to obviously economic policies by government, by forcing our youth abroad.
I know exactly where you're coming from, and you're right, but I actually believe this is far simpler than this. This is the Ladies Gaelic Football Association.
Women, yeah.
This is the national sport of our country. This is a club in the Gaeltacht area. The official first language of this country is Irish. Regardless of what's happening in Britain, regardless of what's happening, you should be able to conduct your business in this country as it relates to the national language. In the national game, with a sport that has Gaelic in the title, you should be able to do your business as Gaeilge, whether it is whether it is accepting an award, which we welcome it, fantastic. You've got a trophy, you're speaking in Irish. I think it's almost a given at this stage that a team captain must speak in Irish, right? So then, of course, there should be accommodation for someone to be able to deal with these matters in the language of their first choice, rather than expecting them to translate in their minds and articulate exactly how they're feeling. For me, it's actually really very, very simple. It's crazy that we're having this conversation.
And I think you're right, and I think you're 100% right. And again, I don't know really, to be honest with you, the ins and outs of this, and that's not my interest. And as I says, I just don't have any real interest in sport, but I don't take away the hard work that people commit to it, because I see my own brother and Paul and other people of Onlia and other great people doing fantastic work in Eamon, and everybody doing just unbelievable work. Need that be Gaelic football or athletics or rowing or whatever they're doing. But for me, not being able to conduct yourself in any case, need that be to defend yourself, or like you clearly and rightly says, was accepting an award, and I think that was well said, is that that's not good enough. It's not good enough because we're all trying to preserve the Gaeltacht, a 3,000-4,000-year-old language, and I think it's really, really important. And I get that people struggle with learning languages. Like for me, I'll give you an example. I'm dyslexic. I'm severely dyslexic. I can't read or write in Gaelic. I can only but communicate fully in my language verbally. There's not, and I understand all the challenges that brings. So what I'm saying is that we need to do far more, and here we are in a situation where a number of people want to conduct themselves, and it just happens to be that if there's a hearing and they want to be able to defend themselves or whatever that is, through a language that they feel
you shouldn't
more
have to
comfortable
translate
with and they fully understand.
You shouldn't have to translate your own language, especially on matters associated with the Gaelic Football Association. You shouldn't have to translate your own
because they're
language.
Intertwined.
And
sport and their language are intertwined.
All right, that's. I'm entitled to express a view in regards to that. It's not life or death. It's not about. It's not to do with politics or what have you. Just for me, it's common sense.
It's about the survival of a language.
It's all in there.
Slán,
thank you, Mahu. That's Councillor Micheál Colm McGillen-Aspig. The LGFA says it's an ongoing hearing, and therefore the LGFA cannot comment on it at this time. And we're not seeking comment on the hearing. We're seeking comment on the structure within the structure of that hearing. That's what we're seeking comment on, not the hearing itself. Of course, due process has to be followed, but we're actually trying to inquire about how that hearing is structured. But the LGFA can be a little bit hard to get info out of at times.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
GiveBlood.ie know we can count on you, our community of blood donors, to be there for others in their hour of need. Blood donors from Letterkenny should attend the clinic in the Radisson Blu Hotel in Letterkenny from Monday 25th to Thursday 28th of August. Making an appointment is recommended. Regular donors can visit our website or call 1-800-731-137 to book a time. New donors are vital. Visit giveblood.ie to check eligibility and clinic details, because we count on you.
Sheep sales surged by €100 a head. In this week's Irish Farmers Journal, we examined what is driving the record rise in sheep prices. Warning of €500 million blow to milk checks if derogation is lost. Minister Healy-Rae opposed to rise in tractor driving age. Farmers push back against policy change to Fair Deal scheme. Minister Hayden declares long-awaited TB rules imminent. Plus, don't miss our essential guide for going to college. Only inside this week's Irish Farmers Journal, on sale now.
Here at Braden's House to Home Interiors, Moville and Bridgend, we stock recliner and fabric suites, dining tables and chairs, beds and mattresses, curtains and rugs, and don't forget our large flooring department stocking carpet, vinyl and laminate flooring. We can't be beaten on price or quality, and give a weekly delivery service to Donegal, Derry and Strabane, not to be matched. So call in today to Braden's House to Home Interiors, Moville or Bridgend for all your home furnishing needs.
Your specialty is quality tiles, bathroom suites and wooden floors. Who is the best range of tiles in Donegal?
Crawford Tiles.
The best wood flooring?
Crawford Tiles.
The best bathroom suites?
Crawford Tiles.
5-day bathroom refits?
Crawford Tiles.
And who's been tampering with my questions?
That'll be me.
Crawford Tiles, Castlefin. That'll be them. 07491 43942.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhinney's. Get back to school sorted with all the essentials from school jumpers to shoes. Visit our kidswear department in store or shop online at mcelhinney's.com today.
So, cloudy, wet and blustery at first this afternoon. Sunnier spells and occasional heavy showers will move in later with spot flooding and isolated thunderstorms possible. Temperatures 15 to 17 degrees. We are out and about on Friday the 12th of September. We're broadcasting live from the ATU in Donegal to coincide with a big event that's taking place. It is the TBEX. I presume there's no other way to pronounce that. Is there Rick Calvert, CEO of TBEX?
You got it right, Greg.
All right, thank you. This is a big deal for us here. It's a big conference. So tell me first about TBEX.
Well, TBEX stands for Travel Blog Exchange. When we first started doing this back in 2010, we didn't have much social media. We were just bloggers. But now it's a conference for anybody who's a travel creator, is the word that we use now, or travel influencer. So this is people, it's their job to promote destinations, to promote travel, and to help, travelers, tourists know where to go, where to stay, what hotels to go to, maybe what tours they might want to go on when they're visiting a certain destination. And we're excited to be bringing it to Donegal.
In a relatively short amount of years, this has exploded in terms of its influence on the travel industry. Is there any way to gauge, Rick, how influential, travel bloggers, travel influencers are actually on, people's activity in the industry as a whole?
It's upwards of 80% of all travelers will come into contact with a travel creator, a travel influencer before they book their trip. So, and when you're doing research on Google or now on TikTok or Instagram, you're searching, where should I go on holiday this summer or this fall? You're going to come across a travel creator, a travel influencer who's going to be posting videos and photographs and blog posts about, with advice on where you should go and what you should do while you're there. So
how independent?
80% is a pretty big number.
Yeah, it's massive. How independent is it? I mean, obviously it's trusted because, 80% wouldn't be checking in on it if it wasn't trusted. But how trusted is it? Because of course, then it becomes almost part of the business when much of this might be funded by the industry.
You know what, Greg? That's a really fair question. And I would say in the very beginning, and I've been here since the very beginning of this thing, it was almost entirely independent. That's definitely not true today. This is how travel creators make their money, is through marketing, through advertising, just like you do on radio. We were listening to the ads just before we came on.
But I suppose it comes down to reputation, right? So say, for instance,
exactly right.
Exactly, you build trust. You build trust. There's always going to be a balance between maybe who's funding it, the product, and the customer, right? But I mean, there has to be an authenticity there. There has to be a level of trust. There has to be, well, I'm coming back to you because, you guided me correctly the last time. And I think companies now realize sometimes, a blogger has to sort of talk about the 5 things that are great, but also maybe focus on the one thing to avoid. I think it's found the relationship has been settled in that regard, hasn't it?
You're exactly right. It's individual trust for whatever blogger or creator you're listening to. And the other interesting thing is what social media has allowed creators to do is the thing that's more difficult to do in traditional media is to focus on an extremely narrow niche. Right. So adventure travel is a big category at our event. But we have people who specialize in just cruising. We have 2 different guys who come to our conference who specialize in traveling the world and getting shaves and haircuts. I didn't even know that was a thing. They both have like 700, 800,000 followers, one on YouTube and one on Instagram. There are a lot of people who think that's interesting
I think too. I think
category you can imagine is at TBEX.
Yeah, I think influencers too. These types of content creators actually hold service providers' feet to the fire as well too. Actually, I think it's been beneficial because there was a time whereby you might have got away with laxy-daisy customer service or mis-selling something. Those days are gone. So the fact that there's more exposure, real-time exposure to it now, I think the offering. Obviously the natural offering is there and it is what it is, and we'll talk about that in a sec. But I think the offering has had to improve because we have more knowledge. Now, so the purpose of 500 attendees potentially from around the globe coming to Letterkenny, is this, it's going to be a fantastic opportunity to showcase Donegal because we're talking, I don't know what the collective reach of these people are, the attendees, but it's going to be in the tens of millions, obviously, when you've got two fellas with beards with over 1 million between them, right? So this is
hundreds
huge.
Of millions.
This
Greg.
is huge, isn't it? Like, it's huge.
Hundreds of millions of people, and yes, it's a huge opportunity for Donegal. And this will be our third time with TBEX in Ireland. We were in Dublin the first time, in Killarney several years ago, and this is our first time up north. And people always love to come to Ireland, and that's exactly what they're doing before the conference and after the conference. They're going to be exploring, everything to do in Donegal and posting about that on social media and on their blogs and YouTube and, Instagram and TikTok and all that stuff. So they'll be going to restaurants. They'll be going to the pubs. They'll be going to, I know there's a theater there in Letterkenny that people are going to be touring, and all sorts of different activities. Yeah. And they'll be posting about that on social media. And
in terms of sort of outdoor opportunities, we've got so much here. What was it? I was going to ask you, this is sort of separate to the conference as such. You have to be across all platforms, right? Obviously, to be successful in this space. But is there a platform that's almost seen as the go-to for this type of content? Or do you have to make sure you're seeding to whichever platform works best for you?
Yeah, again, good question, Greg. Again, in those early days, it was just blogs. And then, Facebook came along, even MySpace before that, and Facebook and Twitter. And now Twitter's fallen off almost completely. You don't find any travel content there. TikTok is certainly the one with the most energy and the fastest growing right now. But Instagram is very strong. Facebook is very strong. YouTube is very strong. So it really comes down to the individual. Again, the consumer. Different consumers follow different platforms.
Age demographics. You will probably see a younger demo on but not exclusively on your TikTok, or perhaps maybe a more wealthy, older, longer travel, different destinations on Facebook. I'm not saying that's prescribed, but listen, you're going to be there. I can't wait to see you. I have to go now, but I can't wait to see you and the rest of the crew down there on Friday, the 12th of September. This is huge for us here, and I really do hope all attendees get a broad sense of what we have to offer here, and I'm sure they will. So brilliant stuff, Rick. Thanks so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Greg.
All right, take care of yourself. Bye-bye. That's where we have to leave it for today. Have a wonderful Thursday, everybody. We're going to be back tomorrow morning with the Friday panel and so much more besides, but we leave